Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo Saturday edition. I'm your host and keeper of the Harry Channel, and with me tonight are minions SkepTock.
Hi, everybody.
Serenity Star 13.
Hello.
And DrFunctional.
Hi.
Hi. So let's start with the eldest. That would be you, SkepTock. Hey, even has your goodly wife been making you garden today?
Actually, she doesn't trust me with it. I lift heavy things and move heavy things from one side to the other. She planted the impatiens today, and also the marigolds went in the ground. And this is part of our genetic modification experience. We're making GMOs out of impatiens. Impatiens is a kind of flower, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of similar to peonies and marigolds and that sort of thing, pansies. Very colorful, very beautiful flower. And when you mix the colors, they get this paintbrush effect, as though the petals of the purple ones that were next to the white ones brushed over, and the next generation of white ones will have little faint brushes of purple or anything else that gets in there. It's some kind of genetic dilution and type of a effect. Anyway, so we're now in the P4 generation, I think, right now, and we're getting some really interesting looking varieties that we're able to capture the seeds. I mean, if we were into it, we could even promote these and sell the seeds. This is just something Brenda wanted to do to make pretty flowers.
No, it's fine. I was actually thinking about the topic of evolution because I was listening to the Every Frame of Pause, they call it EFAP, Mueller, Mahler, that whole crew. There's sort of the internet equivalent of what Mystery Science Theater 3000 used to be, right?
Yes.
You know, so you get a bunch of funny people and you just have them make smart-ass comments while dumb things happen on screen.
It's a proven concept.
That's all it is. But they actually do a pretty good show. But they somehow were talking about this show that was on in the UK when they were kids. It was a documentary series where they're talking about evolution and the beginning of life on Earth and all that sort of stuff. And they started talking about evolution, and I realized that the key thing is that you can see evolution happen in front of you with bacteria. Because they have very short lifespans and there are a lot of them and they reproduce really, really fast. So you can see stuff happen almost in real time. Human scale time, not a problem. As things take longer and longer for each generation, the change is slower and slower. You're still seeing it in human time with your plants. Like you said, you know, how many generations of this crossbreeding can you do? People like to think that it doesn't really apply to us, except when you're looking at a baby and says, hey, that kid's got your nose. You know, we understand that stuff works, but I think the reason people don't think evolution works sometimes is because they can't grasp it, because humans just take so long to make copies of themselves and we don't do it very often.
That's true. We change very slowly, too.
Yeah, you ramp the evolution speed up to 11, and then it's really obvious what's happening, whether it's Drosophila melanogaster or E. coli or peonies or whatever.
Melanogaster. I thought nobody else memorized that name. You and I are the only two people I know of who can, you know, Drosophila melanogaster just trips right off the tongue.
Well, it annoyed biology annoyed me enough that I made a point of remembering that one. Yeah.
Never underestimate Harry's spite.
Oh yeah, never. Yeah, it's true. I bought some garden tools, and just for dealing with stuff around the yard, I got this Ego interchangeable thing where it's like one battery pack. You have separate battery packs and motor, and then things attached to it, and it's all this big system of stuff. I was shocked at how much power that thing kicks up. The line cutter thing that they have works amazingly well, so much better than anything I've ever used before. The trouble is it doesn't have any kind of guard on the back, so while you're chewing your way through this field of crap that I don't want to let grow, it's just throwing crap all over me. It's like, I was just, everything from the knees down was just covered in silage. It was pretty terrible. But man, some of these new garden tools are pretty awesome.
Absolutely, and we've availed ourselves of several. We have an electric leaf blower that is absolutely phenomenal. It's like you say, it's the best leaf blower I've ever even heard about. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good. It can clean stuff up. It really is substantially powerful, and it can clear sidewalks, clears the crud off sidewalks like nothing else. Not just grass and stuff, but dirt too. It's like a sandblaster with air.
I'm looking at chat. You could see evolution in humans in just hookers used to. They would get in your car.
Alrighty.
You drove off now. Yeah, I still remember it was a GTA where if you needed to heal yourself, you could just like hook up with one of the young ladies in your car, and that would push your health bar back up. Wholesome messages. In Duke Nukem, all you had to do was basically urinate, and then you would suddenly feel better. I don't know how that works, but video game logic makes no sense. Hi, Serenity.
Hi.
So I know how you've been. I just don't know how much of it you want to talk about.
Coyote problem. Half solved by a group of dogs I own, killing one coyote, me killing other. Not with my bare hands, chat, with a gun.
Yeah.
What'd you use, if I may ask?
Oh, God damn it. Now I have to look it up. Because I have all my guns written down. So
And which lake is it in now? Oh, wait, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to pretend your guns have fallen in a
I
lake.
don't got to worry about that.
Sorry.
Oh. It was, God, it was it was a handgun. Because I couldn't get the shotgun out fast enough. Fuck. It's the, oh, my God, what is it called? I don't want to get up and look at it.
It's like a 9mm or something, or 45.
No, it's a weird gun my grandfather had. It's got
22.
It's got it's a 357.
357.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's a 4-bullet barrel, but that's all it has in it.
It's a little gun.
Yeah, it's a little. And well, the thing is, it was partially hurt already because the dogs had done some stuff to it, so I just walked up and blew its brains out. But it was just I put all.
I
4
did that with
bullets in
some of
it.
my sisters.
That's a lot of kinetic energy to throw at that animal.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it was me being pissed because I had to go out in the rain and the mud to deal with it. It had nearly killed one of my older dogs, who was a little short thing, who normally doesn't stray far from the house, and it had hid itself on the other side of the chicken coop, and then had charged it. But thankfully, my 2 other dogs, who are giant, were like, "Nah, motherfucker." And then I think it was a male and a
I'm
female
surprised
coyote.
they didn't rip it to pieces.
Well, they tried, but then the other 2 dogs, they ripped the one coyote apart. The 2 dogs did. And then the other one came out, who was partially injured because its leg was busted up real bad, which I think means it got stuck in the chicken wire and had ripped its leg out from the chicken coop.
Yep.
And then I just shot it.
I totally have seen that.
So,
You know,
but this is,
lame
but
coyote.
anyone who's at least on this side of the chat, at least side of this stream knows I've had to go out and kill coyotes in the past, so this is nothing new. But yeah, I was making all the animals very, very anxious, but I couldn't see anything because I couldn't see any tracks because it's been raining like a son of a bitch. And so everything was wet, but no marks were staying because the rain would wash it away every time. And so we think there's 2 more out there, 2 more coyotes, but we think the gun and the dogs ran them off. So that's what I'm hoping for. The donkey and I had a conversation, though. I was like, "You're not doing your job, bud."
Yep.
Well,
I ain't afraid to eat donkey. Don't.
rest in peace, Wiley.
Yeah. And they got some great French recipes.
Yeah.
Super genius.
And then there's DrFunctional. Are you functional tonight?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Just been getting some work done.
that's good.
Was that a joke, Harry?
Well, I was going to give him an opportunity to say fully functional because I know he's a Star Trek weeb, but he didn't go for it.
Functional.
Yeah, exactly.
I was giving him, that was not a joke, that was a layup for a joke.
Yeah, I was trying for an assist on a layup.
So functional.
Sick of your shit,
Canada
Q.
sounds like a great place to live. It's sounding really pretty fantastic. You were telling me about, was it the latest attempt to essentially take your freedom away whenever they feel like it?
Yeah, and you know, I'm sure people have heard of what's been going on up here with the Online Harms Act, which
Oh my God.
just to sort of rewind just a little bit to give some context. The last conservative government under Harper basically got this ball rolling just after Charlie Hebdo. So that was C-51 back in, you know, like 2013 or whatever. And it's, you know, I've been very vocal about this kind of shit seeping into our country here. And obviously you guys know we don't have the same protections and freedoms that your Constitution provides. Ours is very, very very limp-wristed Constitution. And so since Trudeau came into power, this sort of narrative and these acts have kind of been, you know, escalating and snowballing until recently we get C-36, which the original bill was actually kind of good. It made laws basically, you know, going after child trafficking, child exploitation online, CP, that kind of stuff. So some good stuff in there. However, they're amending the bill to basically say, you know, anything, it aims to, I quote, to force social media, user-uploaded adult content, and live streaming services to reduce exposure to online content deemed harmful or hateful. And yeah, that doesn't sound very legal, does it? Like, that's not a really specific legal sort of definition of something. That's very wishy-washy. So what the discourse is now online, people are like, wait, what do you deem harmful? Oh, well, basically, knowing what we know about the Trudeau government and previous governments, whatever the fuck they want, right?
Yeah. Are you familiar
so that's what
with
kind of makes it scary, is that it's actually coming full force, so that now anything that they say you said on Facebook, or I might have said on stream, or whatever, can now be criminally prosecuted by the federal government. That means there's no victim there. So it's just the federal government clamping down on this shit. And again, it becomes a little sort of passé whenever I think of it, because that scene in Revenge of the Sith where Padme goes, and so this is how liberty, democracy dies, to thunderous applause. And it's just like, it keeps happening up here little by little, and it just...
Is that really a quote from Star Wars? Because I'm pretty sure I've heard that from somewhere else before.
Yeah, it was Star Wars,
that was
Emperor Palpatine in the prequels. Yeah,
I think I think they borrowed from.
Well,
from the Washington Post.
Knowing George Lucas, he borrowed it from somewhere. But that's where a lot
democracy
of
dies in darkness.
Yes.
Exactly. It's, you know, a parallel to that.
Yeah.
So I have a dumb question, Functional.
The official
Functional.
Sure.
So part of this that I don't understand is the Charlie Hebdo thing. So when I heard about Charlie Hebdo, which for anybody who's not paying attention, some cartoonists did a satirical thing featuring the image of the Prophet Muhammad, and people got upset about this and went and killed a bunch of journalists.
Yes.
Now,
Charlie Hebdo.
My response to that would be, well, I think we need to protect journalists and protect free speech. It sounds like they did the opposite. What exactly was said? I don't understand. I would think, because it sounds like you're implying they went in the opposite direction. Like, also, so as not to offend the people who killed the journalists, you need to clamp down on speech there? Is that what I'm hearing?
But also,
that's an interpretation.
In France?
Yes, it was in France.
Yeah.
But it was a big thing because...
Well, yeah, I remember that. It's just, it's like, Canada, why? But anyway, continue.
It started that discourse, though, Serenity, of what we see, you know, ever since then, of you have these insane people who are like, yeah, you shouldn't be saying mean things. And then everybody else who has more than 2 brain cells to rub together goes, no, freedom of speech is like the one inalienable thing that people have. Like, I can sit here right now. Doesn't mean, you know, like I have to say it to anyone, but like I can walk out on the street and say whatever the F I want. And that should be everybody's like inalienable right to just be able to say what you want. And so what it did is not only allowed for, back then, it not only allowed for the government to basically legally, through this bill, snoop on your online activity as a Canadian citizen, but can also do what was it, the Boston bombing, where the FBI went after Apple to give them their records, and this basically circumvents that and just basically says, no, the government, not any specific law enforcement agency, but the government can then say, no, we want their records, give them to us. Your rights don't fucking matter. And so the entire bill, I can't give you the entire thing, but the stuff that I mentioned was good, doesn't outweigh the stuff that was bad in the monitoring, the policing of speech, and this latest iteration, tack on to Bill C-63, it basically adds more onto it. So basically, and no surprise that the Minister of Parliament who introduced this was a Muslim, but basically wants to tackle those analogous concepts like anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim hate speech, radicalized speech, and calls for genocide, and this, and like they use a lot of those fancy buzzwords, but basically what it is just basically them being able to arbitrarily say, no, we don't like what you said online, so we're going to either give you a fine or whatever. And legally, it hasn't been legal here until now, but legally allows them to jail you for life sentences for something you might have typed on a freaking keyboard.
Yeah, you know what you did.
That's scary, man. I mean, again,
it's scary, of course.
With my family history and hearing the stories of what happened before Weimar Germany kind of exploded, this is the kind of stuff that they would tell me as an 8-year-old boy, saying, this is the kind of stuff that, in trying to educate me about my family's history, this is the kind of stuff that happened then. That the world collectively post World War II kind of said to each other, yeah, this shouldn't happen ever again. And yet it's happening in my own backyard. Guys, we saw them, Mr. Escaped Nazi over there. It's wild. It is really, like, honestly, on a day-to-day basis, I don't really let it affect me too much. I'm cognizant that it's happening out there, but day-to-day, that's not really going to, until they say, oh, well, you called Az from Heel versus Babyface a faggot on YouTube, so you're going to prison, buddy boy, for 8 years. It's like,
he is, though.
Okay.
But anyway,
he's pretty funny,
dude. I'm permabanned on Twitter. I'm muzzled on Facebook. I don't give a shit. So it's not like maybe it's a good thing, because then those bans, those censorships from the social media companies themselves, maybe that'll prevent me from actually going to prison.
there you
I
go.
joke. But no, on a more genuine level, it is kind of disconcerting to have to, boot up my computer, look at my phone on social media, and then have to be very weary of the things that I say for fear of being banned or whatever. But now with legal repercussions, whew.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is making me want to play Wolfenstein again.
Yeah, I've
really
never been banned for anything like this.
Neither have I.
I remember once, God, I think I was a freshman or sophomore in high school, and I went to the main public library where I was going to meet up with some friends, and I show up at the library. I was running a little late, and I show up at the library, and all my friends are sitting out on the front lawn, and I go, "What's going on?" He said, "We got kicked out." I'm like, how can you get kicked out of a library?
Wait, what?
I'm so law-abiding. It's just the thought of such a thing is like unthinkable to me. It's like I would never get kicked out of a library, but they all got kicked out of the library, and that's the problem. Okay, let me back up a bit. There used to be these discussions about pornography, because people would say we should ban pornography, and then someone would say, okay, well, if we're going to ban it, we should define what it is. And the response is, well, I can't define what it is, but I know it when I see it. That's what's wrong with this law.
Potter Stewart.
That's what's wrong with this law that you're talking about, functional. It would be better if they just enumerated things you're not allowed to do and said, okay, you can't do these things. If they did that, you could at least know how to stay clear of this.
Exactly.
But it's written
It
so
wouldn't be
loosely.
good, but it would be
that they can just apply it whenever they feel the need, whenever the mood strikes them,
government
they can
wants
just
to
use it.
circumvent our own constitutions and laws, and it's happening. Like I said in chat, it's happening to the big three: you guys, us, and the UK. Like this, people getting arrested for memes and saying whatever. But if there were clear and concise, like you said, you can't do X, Y, Z, then we as a people will know, okay, don't do X, Y, Z.
Yeah, you can just work around it.
The government wants to circumvent these things to act like the social media companies have been now for decades.
Yeah.
Kind of a little, doesn't make me, like you mentioned, it's going the other way of the things that we would like to have seen as far as, positive change and modernization of these laws. And no, Assassin, I won't get this channel banned. That's for sure. I definitely police my speech a little bit better here. I'm not a big talker to begin with, but like if I have something to say, I'll say it. And most recently, the thing that got me a 30-day ban on Facebook was I had a conversation. I thought it was a conversation. Turned out the guy was effing retarded. About the meaning of the words normal and abnormal, and how, in his perception, those are bad words. Those are naughty words. In my perception, they're just states of being. They're just statements of fact. Like, heterosexual couple having children is normal. A homosexual couple, not normal, but I don't have a problem with it. I'm not ascribing abnormal as a pejorative. It's just that's not the norm for the species kind of thing. Eventually it just broke down. And I said, okay, whatever. I think I said whatever, dude, or whatever, and that was considered misgendering.
Man.
I didn't know that they were supposedly a trans person.
I feel like we already need a palate cleanser. Were you going to say something, Serenity? Go.
Well, I was about to say, I feel like back in the early days of the Serenity Star running around on the internet, I feel like this was a Teal Deer video, the normal abnormal thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was a Teal Deer video. I feel like it.
Maybe. I know. I've heard other people talk at least briefly on that issue. I know Aiden and I talked about that in Discord one day. I've heard the Lotus Eater boys. I think in the early, maybe it might be pre-Lotus Eaters, but when they were having a show or whatever, they were talking about that. So I mean, but I'm not going to go off on that tangent. A nice palate cleanser would be nice right about now.
So this is a thing that happened in your city. It came out a few years ago. Can you see this? Toronto restaurant switches names of entire menus so that you can write off as a business expense.
I did not hear about this.
Yeah, you can get a basic steel stapler, Fortune Burger. You can get a mini dry erase whiteboard. That's the chicken burger. Wire to your phones with Mike. That's your veggie burger. Yeah,
that's it.
Well, this is from like 3 years ago. So
it's probably like 20 now.
Yeah, it's probably.
It's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like it. And I did actually check. I know I saw this as a meme, but no, I did find other references to it. This is actually a thing that seems to have happened.
You didn't happen to find out which restaurant it was, did you?
Oh, gosh.
I see a logo on the French fries at the bottom. Or, sorry, the wired mouse.
Good Fortune Burger is what it's called.
You know what? They could be in chain of liability. Listen to this, because this is how this stuff works. What will happen is someone will use this to embezzle a bunch of money. The company will get pissed off and say, well, this company, this restaurant basically encourages this kind of behavior. And so I want them added. If you're going after criminal, they'd be an accessory. And if you go after them civilly, they'd be a co-respondent, and sue the living shit out of these guys. They need some legal advice. They need to stop this right now.
They're not doing
legal liability.
They're not doing it anymore.
Legal liability.
They're not doing it. I'm on the website for the restaurant. They're not doing
it. And without giving too much away, that's actually just down the street from me. I'm actually gonna ask.
Gonna head on down.
Yeah, head on down. Try their burger. Why not?
Try to touch my stapler.
If it means anything functional, their Fortune Burger is still $9.
That's
so
good.
So it's not even like it was. They sell Mexican Coke there too. Like I'd get on that.
Yeah, well, you know what? We actually have Canadian Coke up here, which is Mexican Coke, but there's like Quebec raspberry and.
Okay.
What was the other one? BC Maple or something? And they're actually
about right.
really good.
I've had those at.
I'm a sucker for Coke.
Speaking of a giant mouse, when I've been to Walt Disney World, when they have the World of Coke, I've had those.
Man,
They're
things
good.
have certainly changed. When I went to Disney World, they had the God, what was it? The AT&T Pavilion and the Kaiser Aluminum.
The AT&T Pavilion was still there when I went, but the Kaiser Aluminum was gone.
Yeah, they had a
1980s Dallas.
Sorry?
1980s Dallas was the World of Coke.
Ah.
Yeah, there was a World of Coke there because my cousin told me about it. I also went to another World of Coke in Las Vegas. That was where I tried the Italian soda that they sell in Italy, and it's no God, what's the drink? It's not an aperitif. It's something, and it's this weird
Digestive?
I think that's what they call it, but it starts with a B, and it tastes.
Bellini?
Well, not the type of drink. The name of the drink is like a B word, and I can't remember what it is. I'll have to hunt it down. But it was interesting. But I'm a Dr.
They
Pepper.
refuse to allow Coke to sell vanilla Coke up here anymore, and it really drives me nuts.
Why?
It's like my favorite.
Why?
I don't know, Skep. The only way I can get it is by paying $30 for a 12-pack on Amazon.
Yeah.
Otherwise, retailers are not allowed to sell it here. I've been trying to find the law, whether it was a municipal thing or a federal thing or whatever. But yeah, sure enough, no. Canada-wide, they're not allowed to sell vanilla Coke up here. And I cannot find out why.
That's so weird, though. It's like they're not allowed to sell it, but they can let it pass through customs and come up into the country.
I want to show you. Speaking of Disney, Serenity, it's been a really rough week for Harry. I apologize if I seem a little slow tonight. I am. What do you think of this picture? This is the cashier's area at the Disneyland Hotel in the 60s. Look at that. Oh, that's so
awesome.
beautiful.
I love that. That's so cool. That reminds me before the Contemporary at Disney World went through its renovations. That's a little bit like what the Contemporary looked like at one point, because we were there right before they did the first of it renovations, and it looked a lot like that.
This is what it looked like when I was there. This was awesome.
I remember when hotels used to look like that.
The nice thing, at least about the Contemporary, is they've kept the 5-legged goat mural. So as long as they keep that mural, I will always love the Contemporary.
Man, when I was a little kid, it was fun. It really was.
I just found the reason there's no vanilla Coke in Canada. If you're interested,
I am.
Okay.
Just quick
Why
aside,
is there?
Spud, is it allowed in the UK? Do you guys have?
Well, I want to hear about the Coke.
It doesn't exist. That's the short answer.
Is it because they have to get
it in 2005?
Do they have to get the vanilla from beaver glands or something? Do they use that weird Canadian
like
vanilla?
It was never popular enough to really float now, and they make it every once in a while. They call it sporadic. It's a sporadic release, and it occasionally is available in Canada. And when it is, it's snapped up. There's a huge Reddit on it, and
that's why it's going for like $30 for a 12-pack.
But anyway, I just wanted to clear that up.
Okay.
You said you'd done all this research, and I
tried to look it up. I didn't find it.
Yeah, we'll send you some, man. So here's the AT&T Pavilion. That's what it looked like in Tomorrowland.
Oh, that's Disneyland's. Is it? No, that's not Disneyland's version of the People Mover, is it?
Yeah, it is.
No. Oh, okay, that is okay. Because I was like, I know the one in Disney World's covered, but
I don't have any Disney World pictures. Disney World is it's haram, man. Only
fine.
Disneyland for me.
But I still love how the parks look. I'm a theme park kid. I went to Kennywood. I went to all the Six Flags.
I went to Knott's Berry Farm.
I am not. I've never been past Vegas, so I've never gone to anything in California.
Well, you already know we're not going to tell the story about how everybody in my family but me got food poisoning at Knott's Berry Farm, because setting that aside, Harry still doesn't eat rhubarb. Okay, so let's see.
And Harry, it's raspberry flavoring from beaver anal glands.
Okay. I knew there was some weird flavoring thing, between the Mexicans and their weird fake vanilla that causes organ shutdown, and you guys with your weird beaver seasoning. I don't know.
Wow.
Beaver seasoning.
Harry's in a.
Anyway, I was going to bring this up. I was kind of hoping maybe we're going to have Prospero, but she had to go to bed. But believe it or not, there is a race right now for the open Senate seat. Oh, we have a Sora Luna.
Yay, Sora!
Sora appeared.
Hi, Sora.
Hello.
How's your internet?
I'm tethered on my phone.
Nice. Sometimes that's what you got to do.
For you, I give my data.
Oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada.
I don't know.
Many a raid night.
Borked. Anyway, sorry for
All right.
being late.
Well, good. Now I won't have to save a bunch of cute palate cleansers for next
what county
week.
are the Californians going to win?
Okay, so
Republicans gonna
so
win.
believe it or not, in this race, we currently have 4 people running, and they are the finest 4 people you could possibly imagine. One of the dumbest people in politics worldwide, Barbara Lee, Miss
sarcasm.
Miss $50 an hour minimum wage. She's running, and Katie Porter, who
she's just a socialist.
Katie Porter is just sort of your run-of-the-mill California Democrat. I mean, I don't know enough about her to hate her.
She's mean, though. That's what I don't like.
Okay, and Adam Schiff of the the Trump derangement syndrome lies all the time.
Yeah.
Lovely human being.
He looks like the human embodiment of a limp handshake. He is just one of the most terrible people.
He looks like one of those guys who would do the foot tapping underneath the bathroom stall in the airport, and no one would still take him.
Yeah.
Wet fart in
And we have Steve Garvey, former sports guy, Steve Garvey, running as the Republican. And of the 4 of them, he is currently leading in the polls. Now, this doesn't mean that he will become the senator.
Is the Democrats being split by like 5 candidates?
Oh, 3.
Well, 2.5.
3. So the trouble is that he will almost certainly go on to they're going to have a runoff. So this is the primary. And then the top 2 candidates from the primary will go off to the runoff. And then the Democrat won't have the vote split. But the fact that there's a Republican showing so strongly in a Senate race in California by itself is like.
What's the Senate? What district is that Senate seat?
Well, it's the Senate, not it's
the Senate.
It's the 2 senators we get national for the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was California's Senate, not the.
No.
For
We're talking
California,
U.S. Senate.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, Shifty Shift wants to be the thing. I mean, honestly, anybody except for Adam Schiff and Barbara Lee would be, I mean, I'll just grin and bear it. I mean, Katie Porter may be mean, but at least she's not as dumb as Barbara Lee. But if it ended up being Steve Garvey, that would be fantastic.
In a special way. She's dumb in a special way. You won't like her very much.
I know, but we're just. I didn't say I'd like it. I'm just comparing her to the other 2.
Yeah, Barbara Lee really is.
It's as bad as it gets.
She's so stupid that she seems to ignore reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really bad.
That's a lot of politicians, though, Skep.
I kind of
no. She's in a special. She really is a special case. She's dumber than Schiff is.
Special.
I kind of admire her a little bit because she's looking around and saying, "Well, all these other pieces of shit in government are stealing money, so why don't I try to steal some money and give it to the people I want to give it to?"
Yeah. The Fannie Willis approach.
Well, you'll love this then. Okay, functional. What do you think of
very high
What do you
IQ,
think of
but
this article? Americans would get $5,000 to
you.
shop under new bill.
Sounds like bullshit.
Now this is coming from Debbie Dingle of Michigan and Ro Khanna of California. Now, Indian people are typically pretty bright on average. Okay, I work with a lot of them. A lot of them are pretty bright. Okay, Ro Khanna is the dumbest Indian person I've ever seen.
Okay, wait.
He is not good.
We need specification on this. Is he the dumbest Indian you've ever met, or one of the dumbest people you've ever
Well, no, there are way dumber people like Barbara Lee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wanted to make sure. Continue on.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely terrible. But yeah, they've come up with this great idea that what they want to do is the Made in USA tax credit, as it's known, seeks to revitalize American manufacturing by providing up to $2,500 in tax credits to individuals and $5,000 for couples purchasing goods that meet the FTC's Made in America USA standard. You just shut up. I'm not even going to read the rest of this. This is just so dumb.
Here's a thought. Here's a thought. How about you make it so it's just cheaper to have businesses here in America?
Yeah, stop taking all their money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
I mean, I'm not against taxation, but like,
yeah, same. I'm not against taxation. I want it reduced, but it's
reduced and streamlined because the amount that they take and the just garbage that they keep spending on.
Stop giving companies to China and India and all the other countries that hate us.
I come from a long line of malcontents. I actually had an ancestor in the Stamp Act Rebellion.
I love that.
So,
It just reminds me of the
Thanks,
carbon
man.
tax up here. It's like, well, you wouldn't have to give us a rebate if you didn't take the money in the freaking first place.
yeah, it's like being shaken down by the mafia, but then they show up and like bring you a cake on your birthday.
It's like
Sorry,
and
we
it's,
broke your legs, but here's a cake.
Yeah,
and it's not even a cake you like either. It's like something you're allergic to, and it's like,
yeah.
Banana, lemon, custard cake.
Ugh.
bleh. It's just, of course, and of course it's coming out of, no offense, Harry, it's coming out of California and Michigan. Of course it is. The two,
That's where the thought leaders come from.
apparently,
California.
that's terrifying.
Oh, please do me a
Especially the last name
do me a
Debo.
favor that
Leaders.
and make sure that like Skep, if you can kind of keep an eye on the chat and everybody, honestly.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to
Yes.
keep an eye on the chat, but we actually have many friends in chat, and I can't do all these things simultaneously. So,
You're good.
yeah, I'm going to move on to the next thing. Hey, Sora, what do you think of
Yes.
this? Consumers are increasingly pushing back against price increases and winning.
Good.
Yay.
What do you think of this? Do you think it's
Good.
true?
I doubt they're winning, but good for pushing back against price increases. I know here they're shaming people, through social media and stuff, especially for places like thrift stores, like Value Village, reselling
God,
like a
it's-
$3 IKEA cup. So like it was something from IKEA that still had the price tag from IKEA, and they were selling it at double the price it was used.
Well,
Nice.
it was that, but it was also like there was one lady who caught them selling stuff from Dollarama for $10.
Oh yeah, that stuff, and that's like nothing is like more than maybe $5 depending
But
on the thing
that's-
from Dollarama. That's fantastic.
But that's why the people that work in such jobs deserve $50 an hour, because they're so great at their jobs.
Yeah.
I'm not to denigrate it.
And he's reaching for craft dinner in this picture.
Dude, don't get me started on KD. Holy
It
shit.
used to be
Dude, I remember when
99 cents.
I remember when a box was a freaking quarter. And we went
All right,
and
old man.
bought one of those giant like family packs, and it still came out to nearly $2 a box. It's ridiculous.
If I go to my local grocery store, like a big box grocery store, not like a Walmart, but like a bigger one, like a Save-On or Safeway. It depending on where I go, the neighborhood I shop in, you're looking at, this is KD, not like
Yeah.
fancy organic stuff, but you're looking at $7.99 a box.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
It could be
it's-
cheaper. It could be $5.99, but I've seen it $7.99, and that's here. There are other places in the country, things are stupid priced.
Well,
So-
to give you an idea around here, the Walmart, a single box, like the little tiny boxes, just the regular one, is $1.24. And the 5-pack of the individual boxes are $4.88.
Okay.
That's around
I think you
here.
need to start smuggling macaroni and
Wait,
cheese across the border with the
Well,
cigarettes.
it's kind of like the egg thing that happened with everyone else in the country, especially the West Coast. Like when when eggs were like $9 a carton or something like that out in California, eggs were still like $1 something here. It was a weird freaking thing, and I was just like,
It's
think
back to normal-ish now.
thank God
Yeah,
for you
yeah.
all.
I just want to
So-
report that the chat is having one of these, I remember when gas was under $1. Well, I remember when Kraft mac and cheese was 50 cents a box. It's
Okay, who
almost
said
free.
gas under $1? Okay, cannibalistic. Okay, cannibalistic wizard.
Yeah, I was
this,
gonna
this
say
is this is for
Cannibalistic
you. This is a
Wizard.
shout out for you.
Of course, I do.
when I was a little
remember
kid-
when it was under 20 cents a gallon.
when I was a little kid, and I mean really little, like 5 years old, 6 years old, my dad ran a gas station. And I actually would sometimes help out at the gas station. And I know it seems like an oxymoron, but I was one of these little precocious kids. I actually could do shit. So like I would run charge cards and stuff for people, and help out at the gas station sometimes. I didn't do it a lot. My dad wasn't the kind of guy that would make his 6-year-old kid slave at the gas station. I'd just show up because, hey, Dad's here. It's just a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
And I still remember when gas was like 26, 27 cents a gallon. And then the 70s came along with the oil crisis, and it's like, oh my God, you're asking us to pay like 70, 80 cents a gallon, like $1 a gallon. That was like huge sticker shock.
Oh,
Yeah.
my mom tells stories because my mom was living in Virginia Beach when that happened, and she's like, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and you know how full of shit they are about the gas crisis when you can literally see the oil tankers in the freaking port and they're all heavily down and they're not getting drained. She's like, that was my first inkling that the world's full of shit. I was
Yeah.
like, Mom.
Yeah.
But-
yeah,
because-
the way you can tell with an oil tanker, by the way, I actually do have a little bit of expertise here, is look to see how much black above the surface of the water there is. The black represents what's called the freeboard.
Yep.
And if it's heavily laden with oil, there'll be almost no freeboard. It will sit very low in the water. It's also very stable. So buoyancy is very high.
Yep.
But anyway, just more than you want to know about that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I wanted to know.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
she told me about that when because we go back to Virginia Beach every once in a while, and she lived there for years. But yeah, she was like, when you see that, she's like, you know, they're full of shit. I'm like, okay, Mom.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Not much I can do about it, but thank you.
Yeah, my first car, which I have mentioned, was the 70 Pontiac Bonneville with a 455 Rochester 4MV carburetor. That thing,
That's what
driving
I'm
around
talking
town,
about.
I would get like 8 miles to the gallon. And on the freeway, I could get maybe 13 or 14. And if I drafted a semi, I could maybe get it up to 17. Maybe, you know, that
Yeah,
was
but you had to go for a long way. You had to draft for a long time.
Yeah,
to get
you really-
that kind of mileage.
drafting downhill in that car. There's like 5,500 pounds of American steel.
That's
I love that
a
car.
land yacht. You know, if you had a modern day car today, you wouldn't even scratch those things.
Yeah.
I
hit
stupid,
it.
and my first car was a Jaguar XLT 1978, and that thing was solid.
Nice.
And holy shit, it was so tight. Like it's not nice. A 18-year-old kid should not have a car like that, and had no idea what it was getting into because any kind of repairs or anything that had to happen to it. Whew. But anyway,
You know what my first car was?
So
A
small, but so
1970 Lotus Europa.
Oh.
wow.
No
Oh,
shit.
wow.
Me and my
Lotus.
girlfriend bought it at a junk auction for $200 each for $400. This was in 1974. Anyway, I just had to throw that in there.
I love the fact that you all have cool cars, and then mine was a 2002 Honda Civic. she's a good little car. She's a good little girl, but yeah.
Well, my
that was
first
mine.
learning car Serenity was my sister's car. It was a 96 Ford Escort, which,
Ooh, nice.
oh, Ford. Oh my God.
So this isn't
then-
my car, but this is what my car looked like. You see that thing on the hood? Okay, so I once was driving in the dark and heading back home on like a somewhat countryish road. Skep knows which one we're not going to say.
Right.
Did you liquefy
And
the beer?
and I hit a
I do
deer.
now.
I hit a
Yep.
deer with this thing. And you know, usually you hit a deer with a modern car and it just like takes out the whole front of the
Oh,
car.
I know.
That thing got launched. That front of that car acted like a cow catcher and just launched the deer.
Yes.
No.
My car was
Bambi.
my car was
Think of it-
completely fine.
Bambi goes to heaven.
I hit that deer and it was like my car was absolutely fine.
Yeah.
It's one of those things like
And I was doing
Between-
70.
between the steel body and frame and all that kind of stuff, and then also considering how long the hoods were, if there was an accident, it was in another time zone, so you weren't
What
getting
happened?
hit.
Yeah, exactly.
You transfer that kind of force from the momentum. Oh my
It's like-
God.
Don't worry, Rudolph, you're going home.
All right. It's going to be one of
That's
those. It's going to be one of those shows.
Hamburger on the highway.
All right, Skep, I'm going to make you angry now because I think of all the people on the panel, you are the person who hates Sam Bankman-Fried the most.
Oh, go for it.
Sam Bankman-Fried
SBF.
claims his autism spectrum disorder means he's uniquely vulnerable and shouldn't go to prison for 100 years. Skep,
Fuck
how do
you.
you feel about this?
Oh, this is
No,
new.
Yeah.
That guy is so irredeemably evil that after every bit of information was gotten from him, I would set a date and euthanize him. I swear to God, I would. These people have to be taught that we will catch you and we will fucking kill you if you do this. That's
Oh, God.
who
Oh.
just
Yeah,
Back
you
to
went,
your mic.
yeah, you went too far for your mic, Skep.
that's interesting. I hadn't moved.
You went bubble.
Nothing
You did that
moved.
bubble. You did that like bubble.
I think
thing
it
that
was
happens
just a-
sometimes.
Yeah,
Right.
Texas internet. But no,
Yeah,
but
well,
but yeah,
anyway.
we need to set an example
when-
for these
just so
people.
you know how I feel.
Yeah. You almost sympathize with the Chinese because in China, when they actually catch you watering down the cement and doing stuff like that,
They kill you.
they just kill you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's be correct about that. If you are not Xi Jinping's favorite
Yeah.
person, you get if you are the scapegoat. Yes. If you are not, nothing happens.
Well, if you've got a desirable blood type, they might
Yeah.
want your kidneys, and then yes, you will get it. For the good of the country. Yes,
Yeah.
you
Especially with
sign
how
off on
sick, especially with how sick the dictator's looking now. Ooh,
it. Oh yeah,
he ain't looking good.
wouldn't want to be his blood type.
No God.
Nope.
Sam Bankman.
But yeah,
Fried
he's
claims
too pretty for
autism.
jail, is what he's basically saying.
Yeah.
It's
I
like, no,
I
no.
hope he goes to a maximum security place and is in general population because he looks like he can handle himself.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is like all you have to do, because there's a YouTuber who did who talked to him, CoffeeZilla. All you have to do is listen to the uncut interview that CoffeeZilla did with him to realize, no. You knew
Well,
what
I
you were
already-
doing, you son of a.
I already know this, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, yeah. I mean, for anyone who is on the fence about this man is evil.
Oh,
he's not. He's not a victim. He's not
His-
anything but an evil motherfucker who needs to be
His evil gremlin of a
permanently restrained.
polyamorous
He wanted to take
girlfriend
advantage of a
is
lot
the
of-
same way.
Yeah.
Wanted to take advantage of a lot of vulnerable people.
There you go,
and he
Sora.
thought he could get away with it, and now he's crying. "Ah."
I like Kung Flu. I
Good.
like Kung Flu.
Did I send that one to you?
I think you did, and I may have
Okay.
forgotten it.
I would-
But I still love it. I still love Kung Flu.
I have progressed past the point where I want people like that torn apart by packs of wild feral hogs.
Oh
That
wait,
was-
did I put that up
That was
there?
how that was my old punishment.
Yeah, it seems fitting to the crime. Yeah.
All right.
The way
Oh.
they come out as pig shit in the next life.
Which slight.
And then they might have some use in fertilizing the ground.
The
There
head of
you
the
go.
Republican National.
Sorry.
Slight thing about China right now is apparently most of China's on fire.
Bye,
The
Felicia.
flu.
A lot of Texas is on fire apparently too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God, the whole panhandle, the whole eastern part of the panhandle is up in flames. My uncle comes from it. Spent his life in Amarillo, and I have a couple of cousins who live up there, and they say that it's just absolutely awful. They can't even. They have some land that's in the burned area, and they don't even know what the deal is. They got some livestock out there, just hanging out, and they're hoping for the best, but they can't even get over there to look
Yeah.
to see what's going on. You know what that's like, don't you? Serenity.
We usually don't have too many fires around here, but we got flooding, and because we're a hilly country,
Same
state,
same
same
thing.
scenario.
Same scenario, exactly.
It's like
you have trouble getting to, people have, remote places where they keep animals or whatever. They can't get in there to check on them, on account of floods or fire.
You pray to God the animals
ain't.
ain't stupid. But it's the reason why West Virginians are the backwood. West Virginia's
Yet
favorite
you
phrase
co-
is
As
God's-
hard as that is, if you compare it to the surface of Venus, it's much better.
well, most things are, but favorite country phrase is
Just if
God
you- if
willing
you
in the creek
If
don't
you're
rise.
planet shopping, this is just like a perfect place for humans.
Yeah.
So,
So Mitt Romney's niece, I can't remember what her relationship is to Mitt Romney, but she's going to be stepping down, and of course, as the head of the RNC, because it seems fairly Trump is the presumptive nominee, right? So
yes.
people are making a big deal out of this on the left, talking about, well, Trump has to run the party and this and that. They just all this hot air.
The RNC is no more the head of the Republican Party than the maitre d' is the owner of the building that the restaurant is in.
Well, they just need to look at what the DNC did during the last several elections, where they basically said, "You guys aren't voting right. Let's rig the system for Hillary, right? Let's
Yeah,
let's just
exactly.
get old Uncle
Super
Bernie." Now,
delegates.
I'm not a fan of Bernie Sanders, but they did not exactly treat him fairly.
The super delegates just felt like he wasn't right for the party.
Super
Harry.
delegates. I mean, so if you want to understand why Trump does not, if he is going to be the presumptive nominee, he deserves to have a party apparatus that isn't fighting him the whole time. I don't think that, honestly, I think she's doing the right thing because I don't think in her conscience she can support Trump, and it's time for her to step aside and let somebody else in. And if Trump wants to handpick somebody to come in, fine. I don't see what the issue is, but you can spin it into whatever outrage you want over at MSNBC.
But understand the RNC chairman is nothing but a fundraiser. I didn't mean to step on your serenity.
Well, she's the third of 5 children, and Mitt Romney is the younger brother to her father. So she is the niece.
Okay. I didn't screw that part up. Good.
Yeah, you didn't. And she was the chair of the Michigan Republican Party for like 3 years. That's what she did beforehand.
And Harry, I can't help but chime in here that like Bernie allowed it to happen. Like he took the money, he took the whatever, and sort of put his hands up and go, well, I guess that's that. Whereas when they tried to when the deep state people in the Republican side of things said, oh well, we don't like Trump. Trump said, wrong, you're wrong. I'm staying. I'm doing it my way. I don't know why it sounded like Bernie there, but you know what I mean. Like he
was pretty good though.
Yeah.
He was basically taking. He wasn't taking no for an answer, whereas Bernie was just like, whatever. This is going to be too much to push back. So I mean, it is also partially his fault. And I think that Ronna McDaniel stepping down, like was a very because Trump started talking about her and how useless she is, and other people in Vivek and other talking heads started talking bad about her and what she basically has accomplished nothing. Like you said, she's basically just a fundraiser, and she's failed at that.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of put a lot of pressure for. Is there any news of who's going to be stepping up?
Yeah, there is. It's somebody. Trump has basically handpicked somebody, and he's probably going to get rubber stamped in. But I think, without getting too much into the details of it, if you look at her performance in the last election, there were a lot of reasons why they should have done a lot better than they did. Remember, there was all this talk about this red wave that was going to happen, and then it never materialized. And I think a lot of the blame for that really falls on her. Whether that's fair or not, I don't know, and I almost don't care. But it is time for her to step aside and let somebody else do it. Yeah.
Well, it was quality, but there was also
a lot of
tiny
messaging
bit
too.
more of a red wave at local levels, because I know here we went hard red in my state, and we've been purple on and off for years, because we were a hard blue state for years before that.
Aren't different parts of your state blue and red?
Not anymore. Not the last time.
Really?
They shifted all the way. Yeah.
Yeah, like because Morgantown
used to be the
Morgantown, which is where one of the universities. Yeah, not anymore.
Wow.
Like when Trump ran the second time, my entire state went red. Like the entire thing. Shepherdstown, which is another college town, Huntington, which is another college town, and Morgantown, which are all college towns, even went hard red. All of them.
Wow, that's amazing to hear that about Morgantown. This is a very liberal place.
Oh yeah, trust me, I know.
Sorry if I'm being a little partisan tonight. I know I usually try not to be super partisan, but in this particular case, it's like, she just needs to go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I just saw the meme.
You like that meme?
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, stop showing off memes. We got more stuff to talk about. Let's see. How are we doing for time? We are at almost the halfway point. Oh, we got so much stuff to talk about. I really don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this, but Sora.
Yes.
So the New York Attorney General.
Oh yeah. Personally.
She's lovely. She's the one that is going after Trump for the victimless crime of
Letitia.
Yeah, Letitia
James.
So she has a new target when she gets done taking all of Trump's stuff. New York Attorney General sues world's largest beef producer over methane emissions.
So dumb. She's
going after cow farts.
Yeah, she's going after cow farts.
Excellent.
It's
oh my god.
Are her and AOC related? Because I'm beginning to think they're related.
Yeah.
Just come on.
Honestly, I'm
lady.
not sure which one of them is smarter. That's
That's a very low bar.
yeah.
Oh god.
Probably the rocks that they're standing on.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's so. Oh my god.
Yeah, God, UN leaders called a cutback on meat while dining on prime rib and burgers.
Yeah, of
Like-
course, because that's the plan. The plan is
Yeah.
for you and me and Skep and Harry and Sora to be dining on bugs and living in our pods and not
No,
complaining and too high to
This
give a
is
shit.
nothing. This doesn't
while
have
they-
anything to do with that. No, functional. This doesn't have
Oh,
anything
sure.
to do with that. New York Attorney General sues world's largest beef producer over methane emission is about the New York Attorney General wanting to be on record being super pro environment. She knows that this thing is going absolutely nowhere. It'll be
Yeah.
knocked down as frivolous. You know, she'll probably get cautioned about it, get a nasty letter, and she'll just say, "I am that kind of climate renegade." She wants that.
Yeah, 'cause she wants
that
to run for
because
calling
governor.
people are
card
talking
in
about
her
her. She's
party.
trending on
Exactly.
Twitter.
This is
Yeah, of
all
course.
about her doing this to burnish her credentials. That's
Yep.
all that's going on here.
I can.
This
I
is
can.
not
already-
about the
But
climate.
why?
I
but-
can
but-
already hear the ad. I fought against climate change. And you
Exactly.
took a lawsuit against the largest
Exactly.
beef producer.
but that's to my
Work
point,
for me,
Skep, of that she's a
Exactly.
useful idiot to
Yeah, you're
this global homo
Oh, yeah.
initiative that
You're right,
seems to be
Mark.
going on. That they want us with next to nothing while they dine on prime rib and jet set around the world. Like
Yeah.
I mean, that's
But this is about
her. Yeah, it's her, me.
yeah. It's
And the
all
thing-
me. Yeah,
I'm
all
gonna-
about the me.
I'm going to have a non-hot take with this group because I have a feeling I'm not the only one that feels this way. The UN needs to be dissolved at this point. They just need to be dissolved. They do nothing. They serve.
You
no
know, I
purpose.
think we should demolish the building, and I think we should make it a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just come into work and it's all gone. It's like,
Oh,
oh, what's
we-
No. While they're at work. While they're at work. Yeah.
We're not China.
Tell them
We're
about,
not
they have this
China.
thing called a bunker buster. It would do
I
an
know.
amazing.
No,
it would
Skep.
be
That's a waste.
lagoon.
That's a waste, Skep. It's
Yeah.
perfectly.
It's also
good
not a
structures.
credible threat,
What
YouTube, so
we do
shut up.
Is while they're at work, we give the space to a bunch of migrants and say, "Here,
Exactly.
here's-
That's what I
Bingo.
was thinking.
Here's some space to live in and watch the
I'm-
scenario unfurl."
The reason I'm so hard against the UN right now, especially, even though I've been that way for 60 years or so,
Mhm.
I think I said the first time I said defund the UN was at my 5th grade birthday party.
There you
So
go.
just so
Made
so
Daddy
you know.
proud.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Anyway, the revelation that the UN RWA, the Relief Work Association, the group that was in there, that they had 12 of terrorists who were videotaped or photographed doing the atrocities in the act, doing it to killing people and doing evil things on October 7th. That, as far as I'm concerned, not one more dollar to the UN. Not one more. Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of our country right fucking now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
For the
And
longest time, I only
not
knew.
It's not doable because you would piss off too many other countries. But that's the way I feel. It's
We just cut
not
off funding to
practical right
them.
now.
We'll just cut off funding to them. They can't do anything then.
For the longest time, Skep, all I really knew about them was our role. We send the blue helmet air quote peacekeepers,
The
which are
biggest-
basically glorified observers,
Yeah.
and that was it. But since my political awakening and reading the history of
We've
what
already done
they've
that one,
done,
Harry.
failed to do,
No, we
and
haven't
what
done that one.
They continue to do and fail to do was just no, fuck them,
We-
done.
But let me just quick say one positive thing about the UN. All that it provides is, think of the UN as it's the conference room where the attorneys for each country meet
Yeah.
to try and hammer out an agreement that might be acceptable to their masters to take back to their masters. That is almost the only positive value of the UN. All right.
Yeah, it's
I'm
those
done.
kind of
Thank you.
political backroom deals, but they're out in the open, making connections and talking. Yeah,
Right.
I can see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's
Thank
like a
you for
room
coming to my
full
TED
of
Talk.
representatives from different unions. It's fantastic. So, and you're sort of right, Serenity. We have talked
Okay.
about this before, but this is a follow up because I have more
Okay.
information. So, for the high end printers, HP is actually talking about renting you like a high-end printer for up to $36 a month.
High end.
So, like, for instance, prices range from $6.99 a month for a plan that includes an HP Envy printer. The current model is that don't care, and 20 printed pages, 20 whole printed pages you could print for
A
that
month?
a month. The priciest plan includes an
20 print.
yeah, okay,
20 pages for how much a month?
for $6.99, and the priciest plan includes an HP OfficeJet Pro rental and 700 printed pages for $35.99 a month.
Jesus.
You know, if you want
Why
to
the
rent a
fuck
business printer, you could just call your Konica Minolta representative, and they will just come by and sell you a thing, and you can get this. If this is what people wanted to do, they can do it. Now, HP, to my mind, for printers, HP is kind of down market.
Yeah.
A down market thing,
used to
basically
be the
trying to let
best.
you lease a damn printer with a limited amount of supplies, is insane.
In the 90s, they were the best.
Well, like we around here we just go to the local Office Depot / Office Max, print stuff off, and be done with it because it's cheaper that way than owning a printer or having to buy ink. Because it's like I printed off like 15 pages and it was barely above $1.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
we
it's,
don't print that often, so it's like it's more cost effective just to go to Office Depot and Office Max and say fuck it.
Yeah, I do both. So if it's for
Yeah.
something that is really like high volume, I'd rather get it bound, like pay $5,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
get it
yeah.
bound.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and
Uh,
it's a local mom and pop place who does it, and you know you support local. I've
Oh, heck yeah.
I've gone to them since I was in high school, so
You know,
God bless 'em.
before the days of FedEx, I bet Harry knows what a letter shop is. Letter shops were how mass mailings got done.
Mm-hmm.
Letter shops were how packages got. They call it the offer package. The letter, the phony credit card, the open. This is not a bill. Printed on the outside. I worked for one of those places designing offers. Plus, I also ran the NCR tower, and I got to program in a language called Forth to control 3 phone rooms and the scripts that went to the people who were dialing for dollars. Anyway, just
Oh no, you want to hear something?
relate a funny story, and I thought Harry might appreciate.
No,
that.
I do appreciate it. Tell us your story, and I'm going to use Fourth as a launching off point for another topic.
So the tiny town I live near, the Office Depot, the Office Max is in the opposite direction, but the tiny town I live near still has, and it's still operational, a Western Union office.
oh,
Like one of the ones you walk into to do the money transfers.
Yeah.
not just like a random place who offers.
Nope, it still says Western Union on the front of it.
Cool.
Yeah, we actually have those in California because there's so many Mexican nationals who are here. They're
You send
wiring
money
money
back,
back
yeah.
home, and so they will actually use Western Union to wire money to Mexico.
Now I saw that a lot in Louisville too when I went to the Kroger to go grocery shopping. You could always tell paydays because they were wrapped around the building.
Yeah,
Who here has ever received a telegram, a real Western Union telegram?
God, I was like 9. the
I've
last
never
time I
received
got
a
one.
telegram.
And that was just a
I got one. My last one was in 1974. It was my dad telegramming me the number of my USAA automobile policy because the state of California had just begun requiring liability insurance. And when I was out there, and to get my California driver's license and my government driver's license out there, I had to get that. But it's a real Western Union telegram. I just ran across the other day. That's the only reason I bring it up. They really used to do that, and you paid by the letter.
Yep.
And Dad had no other message other than love, Dad.
Aw.
Yeah.
It was paid by the letter. I think New York got rid of their last telegram office in like 2005 or something like that. Because I remember there was still a telegram office somewhere in New York.
Yeah.
I remember someone telling me that. But it's no.
The last telegraph lines were taken down. Oh, Serenity, help me. When were the last telegraph lines taken down in the United States?
Let's see what the internet sound says. Well, Well, I know CBS just said the last one ever sent was in 2013.
On January 27th, 2006, the company sent out its last telegram. That was
Yeah.
it. Yes.
But the last
so January 27th, 2006.
Yeah, but they adapt. Cable and wireless is now a completely different company.
Exactly.
Oh,
Totally. Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, I thought this was outrageous, and the idea of spending this kind of money for this small an amount of service, I can see why they might try to sell this. And no. I mean, if this point you can just go to Kinko's and print off the 5 pages you do a month if this is where you are in
You
life.
have to remember, late stage Gen Z and early stage Gen Alpha are terrified of their own shadow. So if they don't have to deal with anybody and don't have to go outside, they'll pay that money. They'll pay that money. They're the ones who pay for the shoebox size apartments in New York City that don't even get any light. And they're like, I live in New York City. I don't care.
At least they're not as soft as Sam Bankman-Fried.
There you go.
All right. Okay.
That's why his girlfriend needed other boyfriends.
So speaking of fourth, but she was okay. I've seen pictures of that girlfriend. She's not a keeper.
No.
Okay.
No, she is no. None of the boys are either. None of them. Like, no.
There was something. She just kind of no. She just looked like a
no.
glass of milk that was ready to go off. She was just not.
Ugh, just no.
No.
Wait.
No.
Which
And I'm
girlfriend are you
pretty
talking about?
forgiving on stuff like that.
SBF's girlfriend, the one. He had the polykill with.
Yes. Oh,
She
wow.
just looked
What?
nasty.
All of them just.
Yeah.
Just. I'm like. Ugh.
She looked like 50 miles of hard road, man.
Further proof that anyone who's like, I'm polyamorous. I'm like.
Yeah.
I know what you look like without having to look at what you look like,
Yeah.
editor.
The problem is there a species in between poly and amorous?
With her, it was probably Oompa Loompa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find the mugshot for Phyllis Stalnaker from San Diego right now. I'll have to bring it up later.
Assassin is saying she looks like a goblin now.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, it's not.
It's not good. Okay, so anyway,
Sorry.
and honestly, it's not so much her appearance; it's just the fact that she just looks like
She looks like
she's
the phrase "rode hard, put away wet." That's what she looks like.
Oh,
yeah.
So you're saying Sam's future partners in prison are going to be a step up,
Oh heck yeah!
Well, they might. Yeah, they might.
whether
Be.
he likes it or not.
Immediately.
All right, this is going in a terrible direction. Okay, so, the people at the White House recently, as in this week, came out with a statement essentially saying that they're urging developers to switch to memory-safe programming languages. Because when I want advice about how to write code that can't be hacked, I look to the White House.
Yeah. It's like no.
And this is an argument that is old as time. Okay, ever since the French blew up an Ariane rocket because somebody screwed something up, and they said, "Oh, we have to use Ada because it's a language that makes it harder to do this sort of stuff." And of course, DoD had a real love affair with Ada, which is an object-oriented language that you probably haven't heard of because it's dumb. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a horrible.
And the
little
languages that they've basically been railing against, like C and C++, have become largely standard.
The standard.
You know, and it's just about knowing how to write
is the
code.
standard.
But they want to essentially force people to use languages that make it harder for people to compromise programs in a certain way, essentially memory overruns.
Ada, just so you know how old Ada is. When I was getting my MBA in 1985, Ada was the hottest thing ever. You know, that was the one language you had to know. You had to learn Ada because it was going to be the only language anybody programmed in 2 years.
Well, I think,
and then everybody promptly forgot about it.
Yeah, well, I think Hackaday did a really good job of talking about how terrible this idea is. They have a great rebuttal. I put the link in the chat for anybody who's interested, because I know you don't want to listen to me talk about programming for 10 minutes. But
You're not wrong, though.
I'd be okay with that.
I know you would. But in terms of like memory overruns, that's only a small portion of the exploits that are often serious. Okay. And you can combat those with things like stack busting compilers. There are tools which will do static and dynamic code analysis to catch any errors that slip through. Because to switch to these other languages, you give up a lot of freedom and efficiency. There are things that you really can only do with a language that's a little closer to the hardware and doesn't quite have training wheels strapped to it everywhere. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to use Rust, or they want you to use some other language to do this stuff. And
Well,
I don't feel like
thing-
these people are expert enough to be giving advice, honestly.
They always have toolkits though, Harry, to get you around. This will generate efficient assembler code that will, run the subroutine you need run that you'd normally be able to access this stuff directly, do some direct memory access or something, tricky like that you can do in C that isn't available in something like Ada. But they have a tool that
Yeah.
will do it, and it ends up being even less efficient than all of the other processes stacked together.
Well, you know what I was
what I'm
told?
talking
You
about,
know what I
don't
was
you?
told, Skep, back in the day
Yeah.
when I would have this argument with people like 20, 30 years ago? They would say, if you look at Amdahl's law, computers are getting so much faster. Every 6 months, they're basically getting twice as fast. What do you care about efficiency? It doesn't even
Right.
matter because the
The
computers are
growth
getting so
curve is
fast.
straight up.
Who needs efficiency?
The
Right?
growth curve is straight up. We'll outgrow throw any software you want at it, no matter how bulky it is. In a few months, we'll be able to run it.
Exactly. But it's the whole, we're the government, and we're here to help.
Yeah.
I
It's also, we're the government. We don't care. We don't have to.
I don't think that they really fully understand what's been going on, and I don't think that like a real conversation with people who know has actually taken place. So we're having the conversation now out in the big broad world, and this rebuttal I think is actually quite good and to the point and worth reading. So if you care about this topic, read the link that I put in the chat. So next
All right.
thing.
Moving along.
Well, I figure with stuff like this, I just like to let people know it exists, and I'm not going to go over the whole thing. So people who want to look at it can look at
Talk
it.
about this for a long
We could talk about this for hours or days.
days.
Okay. Serenity,
Yes.
CenturyLink left customers without internet for 39 days.
That did not affect me.
It did not affect you, but the winter storms that hit Oregon left some customers without internet for over a month. And it was only when they contacted the press, Ars Technica, and they stepped in that CenturyLink actually did anything about it. It was actually fixed within a few hours of this
Not
publication contacting them. They had to go to the media to get their internet fixed because
Not
CenturyLink doesn't care.
Yeah, not surprising. Like I've heard stories about CenturyLink. Like even when I worked for another company which was not CenturyLink, they did not have a good reputation.
Well,
We literally had people who used CenturyLink who called us and like, "Are you here yet?" I'm like, "Oh no."
Yeah, the internet
Bad.
ISPs, I don't think most people know that on non-business accounts, there's basically all these things have a service level agreement or SLA,
Yep.
right? And so if you have a business account, the SLA will usually be a few hours. For
And
for
as
stuff
long as
like
there's-
this, there is no SLA.
There is not.
You
Yep.
might get a refund. That's all
Yep.
you can hope for. You
Yep.
might get a refund for the internet that, he might get 1 month free on his bill. That's all the guy's going to get because
Well, it depends because the one I worked for, if you were without internet for more than 4 days, if you were on the civilian side, then you would get comped for how many days you were out, and people always thought it was more than what it was. If you were on the business side, it was a whole other thing, and you had to have certain connections and certain services, insurance stuff, and it was a whole thing. But yeah.
yeah.
Like, they're not going to get it. They're going to get maybe half a month comped, maybe, because they're going to claim it was like, oh, it was this, and we couldn't do anything. Whoopsies. And then they're just not going to do anything.
Yeah, that's why I have multiple backups.
Yep. Same way with Sora.
Yeah. Well, I have a little 4G LTE modem thing that's actually this really sweet little device that they sent me for free. It actually will take an Ethernet in and then fail over if you want to, and it actually has a LAN connection. So if you have something that you don't want to hook up wired, you can actually hardwire it to this thing and get a cellular connection. It's a pretty sweet little device, but it's just that it's still, with all the discounts and stuff, I think it costs me about $20 a month to have a backup. Now, maybe for most people that's too much money, but for me, it's absolutely essential
you
that
need it.
that I have a connection. So if the wind blows and my fiber connection goes down, I have to have something.
Yeah.
Well, but what you get is a cell connect. Oh, I see what you're doing. You just set it over the telephone, the the cell, sending your data over the cell network.
Yep.
Yep.
And you're just
Well,
using it like a hotspot, basically, except you're only paying $20 a month for it. What a
Yeah, and I
smart
get
thing you are.
300. I get 300 gigs of data. That's the thing.
That's
It's not. It's not limited to a tiny amount of data. I can actually use this.
But for your requirements, is that enough?
Well, it's only 10 megabits a second. If I pay extra, it'll go up. But yeah, for
Okay.
my requirements, that actually is enough. But again, this would be a whole nother conversation talking about different types of shells. Like anybody who
Yeah,
cares
yeah.
about this stuff, if you're doing console stuff, look at a thing called MOSH, M-O-S-H.
Someday
Enough said.
Harry and I are going to do a tech stream. We really
Someday
are
we
going to
will.
do one. We need to do it before I die.
You and me
Harry.
and Robert Lange will be the in the
I
audience,
would
so
love
that'll
to-
be
I
it.
would love to do it. I would love to do it.
Okay, I'm starting to. Okay, let's
right.
see. Elon Musk made the comment: AI will run out of electricity and transformers in 2025. The gist of it is, he's saying that between the electric cars and the rate at which we're not fixing our infrastructure and all of the power that AI stuff is using, we're actually not in a great shape as far as the power supply goes. That's his opinion. He may. I think there's some truth to it.
He would be the first to admit that what he's saying is he's assuming a static the forces that could make this better, all of the forces in industry, international commerce, national commerce, all the government forces, all the things that could change that will remain static with respect to the problem. That's not going to happen. They are already reacting to this problem, and there's, he's right to make the point, I think, and right to identify the problem. But people are well aware that this is a problem.
They are.
I think.
I want to keep. I want to
Yeah,
keep
'cause
it.
it's
I want
the-
to keep it moving. Oh, you go ahead, and then I'm going to talk to you about another thing functional.
I think in to add on to that, it's the supposition that the exponential growth of these tools like AIs, predictive algorithms, etc., and their rollout into, like you said, industry and commerce and stuff, it's going to require a huge amount of power that we see anti-oil, sort of anti-fossil fuel, anti-nuclear, which is the big thing that's preventing us from being able to meet these needs.
We've got to start recycling the electrons. I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
You know,
alternating
you-
current.
you
You just
switch
use
it.
the same ones over and over. They just do a little dance as they move side to side.
Okay, you're stealing all the jokes I have lined up.
Nuclear.
Nuclear.
Clear.
Nuclear.
We need more Homer Simpsons. Less Lisa Simpsons.
Yeah. God, what part of my picture folder have I run into? Yeah, I actually
hard to
have
say,
this. I
Harry.
actually have this mug, and I like to take it to meetings when I don't want to be there.
Oh yeah. Passive aggressive, Harry. That's what that's called.
Oh, not me. Okay, Canada.
Stop.
Let's see. Canada declares Flipper Zero public enemy #1 in car theft crackdown. Let me explain briefly.
Oh,
You know all
God,
this
that's
wireless
niceties.
key fob nonsense that people have,
Yep.
you know, where you
Oh,
can
I hate that
remote
shit.
unlock your thing.
Yeah. I hate
Oh,
that.
and also
Another
the
reason why I don't want a new car. They're all fob, no key.
and the near field communication stuff you can do with your phone, you know, because it's totally safe to buy gas or vending machines where you get your sake or whatever, that kind of stuff. There's a little device that you can buy on Amazon called a Flipper, which is really just a low-end, low-power Raspberry Pi with a little display and a little bit of software, and it lets you intercept these signals. And if you're a bad person, you can use it for bad things, and if you're a good person, you can use it for good things. It's a tool, right? Canada wants to.
Real quick, Harry, I'm going to tell you be real careful with language, just because they've YouTube's been going after the shorts that try to for almost a year have been going after shorts that show this. So just I'm
okay.
just
Well,
saying, be very very careful with your language.
The story is that Canada is trying to crack down on this. However,
that'll
the
work.
small problem is that you can just build it yourself if you want to.
Yeah.
The
was just
software's
going to
there, the
say.
hardware's there. The genie is out of the bottle. Honestly, what we really need is better encryption, better communication standards. We need to make it so that it's not so trivial to intercept these signals. What we need to do is harden the damn things that are important, and people need to be a little more situationally aware. If there's some idiot walking around with a little white piece of plastic when you're messing with your bank card at the gas pump, maybe don't even get it out of your RFID wallet.
Yeah.
I think people are just taking security for granted because this genie
they
is
are.
not going back in the bottle.
If you see
okay?
that guy
Hell
with
no.
one of these, go over and beat the crap out of him. Not really,
Yeah.
just kidding.
Do you see the little?
Use a
Do you see the little
dude.
dolphin? You see the dolphin on there? Do you know why there's a dolphin?
Because
called
they call
Flipper.
him Flipper.
Oh, so you guys are familiar with Flipper?
Yeah.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
I didn't think you were.
Fast
no.
I
and
also-
know, but I
light.
watched the series.
Also familiar
Yeah,
with
this.
Darwin.
No one.
It's Flipper.
They remade it for like.
Yeah, they made it. Yeah, they made it.
And then at the end, you know, you got this lovely little graphic. Oh, it's Flipper. I remember that
Darwin likes Flipper.
show. Darwin. Okay, I was going to say something very bad about Sequest there. Okay, so yeah, so my issue is
They
that
tried
I don't
so
think
hard
that
here.
I don't think that the Canadians government's idea of restricting the sales of this device is a solution that will yield any real results.
Discernible benefits.
Yeah, there's
It
no.
won't.
It's not a solution that's fit for purpose, and hopefully YouTube
Correct.
won't nuke
Well, yeah,
us
well,
for
welcome
making
to
that
Canada.
statement. Yeah,
All right. Well,
I know.
Yeah.
I wanted to give you a heads up because there was.
It's a terrific start, Canada, on doing nothing.
Yep.
I saw a lot of YouTube shorts for it, and then all of a sudden all the channels got nuked.
well, we're just talking about
Right.
dolphins, so you know it's
exactly.
fine.
I love
Oh yeah,
dolphins.
speaking of dolphins, let's see. Sora, you with us?
Pan fried.
Okay, Sora is still here. I can hear her making Sora noises. Let's see. Scared baby dolphin rescued after getting caught in a net. I'm gonna kill the sound though.
no, little
Yeah,
baby.
look, a little baby dolphin, and he's all scared and stuff, and
Oh,
so
it's in
this,
Sao Paulo.
yeah. So they're taking him out of the net. I've never seen a dolphin that small before. That's
Oh, it's so
Baby.
Doesn't even
tiny.
look
They
like
should, they should make
Gave him a
like
little smooch on his
give him a
head.
kiss. Oh, you gave him a kiss. Oh, that's
Aw.
nice.
Doesn't
That poor
even
guy's
look like
wetsuit's been through some hell, though.
yeah.
It's a baby.
So anyway, there's a baby dolphin for you.
And
Hey,
I would,
stop videoing it and put him back in the goddamn water.
He does breathe air.
well, yeah, but their
just
skin
try.
dries out.
It's not
Yeah.
Rupert the dancing grouper.
But they're
Oh, little baby. Oh, good little baby. Oh, there you go.
Let's see, what
So
You
else?
couldn't call
the
a
water.
grouper flipper. What would this television show about the talented grouper be called? They called him Grouper.
No. Let's see. Where is this other thing I was looking for? This is another thing. Oh, here's Sora. Here's a baby penguin being tickled.
is this
Oh,
the
I
one
love
think it
this
is?
one. Yeah, I know. This
Yeah.
Oh, you've
I
seen
love
this
the
one.
The noise
this
it
is
makes
an
is
old one,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, the noise it makes is adorable.
Yeah. So happy.
Okay. Are we feel better now? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I do. Let's see. What the hell were we talking about?
Depends on which chat you're looking at, because if you're looking at the private chat, been talking about coyotes for the last 20 minutes.
Let's see. We've got. Oh, okay.
Coyotes can
A
matter.
follow up on the space capsule thing, where basically they were doing manufacturing in space.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a little follow up on that. So essentially, they have a video that was taken from the capsule as it was coming back to Earth, which
Oh,
I think
I
is actually
love-
kind of cool.
I watched the whole thing.
Oh, so you've already seen the video? Okay,
I have.
so
It's awesome.
I think it's
love
pretty
it.
cool, and we can kill the sound because we don't need to see that. But essentially, here's the thing up in space doing its little space thing, and it's about to start its re-entry. And then
Wow.
this is a time lapse of
Well, yeah, because
stills.
it was moving slower.
There is
Yeah.
sound to it. You can hear the sound of like the door deploying and the drogue chute
Yep.
going out and all that stuff. That is really cool. That is so
And here's the heat of re-entry. I mean, imagine this. This is
1500 degrees right there.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it goes.
Damn.
There it goes. There
Yeah.
it goes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
hot.
plasma time.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Oh.
Now Paris Hilton might get us for trademark infringement. Thanks, Sora. She actually trademarked "That's Hot," didn't she?
She tried. She didn't
And
get
she
the
tried.
trademark.
Okay.
We're safe. Sorry.
Yeah. Door deploy, drogue shoot, main shoot, and touchdown. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Nice.
maybe they can do manufacturing in space. Honestly, that seemed like a pretty predictable, well-managed process overall.
Yeah.
Like this shit might actually work. Maybe.
Well, the lovely
It's got to
thing
be
is
cost effective.
it made it be a lot cost effective, but it's so on my trolling through the Instagram, when the initial, I don't want to call it a probe because it's not technically a probe, the thing that landed on the moon recently, there was this stupid woman who was like, I'm into space and I'm into NASA and all this kind of stuff, and she was like, it's like, she's like, I believe the moon mission happened, but you do know how bad it looks when like the feed cuts off when the thing lands? Do you understand? It's like, bitch, shut up. You make all the rest of us seem stupid. Shut up.
Yeah.
It's like, that's going to happen. They literally told you that it was a malfunction. She's like, well, the malfunction, it was just weirdly timed. And all of her comments were the moon landing deniers going, see? Don't believe anything. And I'm like, Jesus, fuck, you stupid bitch. I blocked her, but I was just like, God damn it. Like,
It's important to let stupid people say things in public. We
Which is the
want them
reason
to
why I
feel
blocked
we
her.
want them to feel safe to say these things in public
which-
so that we can figure out who they are and take their
Exactly,
sharp
that's the reason-
objects away from them. Here's
exactly.
some scissors. Go back to running. You know.
it's like, that's the reason why I believe in freedom of speech, because I want to know the stupid people. That's why
Yeah.
I don't interact with them,
Exactly.
because you're not worth talking to. But I was just like, you stupid bitch.
So did you
torture
guys see
myself
this
too much.
this rescue that
Oh, yep.
happened with the truck
No.
hanging off the bridge?
I used to
Did
drive that
Spider-Man
bridge.
come?
I
Yeah.
used to drive that bridge every day.
I
after
used
work.
to run across that bridge every morning when I had a
I
6-month job. 6-month job.
It's in
Louisville.
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 Yeah, I used to.
Louisville.
That's
I can't
the
say
bridge
it.
across the river.
No, you can't.
Between.
Oh, he's still in. Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
he's still
driver
in
is
it.
there, and this super Chad fireman actually went there and
With a
saved him.
mustache. That's right, with the mustache. It's always the stash.
Yeah,
But I
I
don't.
did all the
I,
heavy lifting.
and ladies, he's single. No, I don't know if
I,
he
d-
is.
I don't think anyone died. I don't think so. I think there was some severe injuries, but no one died. But it was like
But
3 other cars were
See
involved
that? See
too.
that sidewalk right there? That's the pedestrian sidewalk, and that's a pedestrian bridge. You can go over, and there's a pretty little park over on the Indiana side,
Yeah.
and you can run around there. And it was about 1.5 miles across the bridge, one way, and that made for a nice 4-mile run.
To be completely fair with how Louisville drivers drive and Indiana drivers, big thing on the Indiana drivers, with how they all drive, I'm amazed it doesn't happen more often with how all those morons drive over there. But that's me, because they all drive like pieces of crap. They really do.
I think they drive more sanely in Louisville than they do in Lexington or Eastern.
They do.
Kentucky.
That I do agree with you. That one I agree with you on.
Those people are truly they're like redneck booze runners.
Well, the problem is like a lot of them are from Ohio, because Ohio can't drive.
Yeah, so
Just
Southern
the-
Ohio people don't realize how rural people are down in Southern Ohio.
Well, let's
Yeah.
talk about Gen Z.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
We
Okay.
have to.
So,
Yeah,
well,
we
we've got
have to.
2 articles. I'm going to give them both to you at the same time so you can try to have them make sense with each other, because they're really part of one topic. And mostly, I think Fortune.com really has a hate boner for Gen Z.
Oh, yeah, they do.
We have the
That one I
first one,
know.
which is quiet quitting among the highest paid workers is driving the average work week to pre-pandemic levels. Okay, and then we've got this one, which is Gen
that
Zers
good?
are waving goodbye to soul-sucking 9-to-5 jobs as social media convinces them to ditch corporate careers.
And then they go crawling back every single time.
I mean, if they can. There was also an article, which I didn't throw in here, about some woman who retired from Google at age 40, and now she's sad because she doesn't have enough human interaction. Seems like a
Oh, poor
solvable
baby.
problem.
Yeah.
But okay, the first article, isn't it a good thing we're going back to pre-pandemic levels? Am I confused?
Eh.
Like, am I misunderstanding that?
Well, okay, now I've locked out of it, which is also super fun.
Delightful.
So the quiet quitting,
I know what.
basically,
that is, yeah.
essentially, there's people at the higher levels of job achievement. They're claiming that they're not actually doing as much work as they should be, because of course the quiet quitting thing. How do
Okay,
I
but-
phrase this? Sorry,
then
my brain isn't working.
Well, the problem is
Loafing?
that title's weird, because like I would think the pre-pandemic work levels was better than the during pandemic and post pandemic.
Well,
That's
since I can't scroll down now because we've been locked out, I'm going to set this one aside because scratching our heads over this is not going to help at all. So this one here about the Gen Zers, though, we've seen plenty of them quitting their jobs and complaining on TikTok. Now, I don't think this is the majority of Gen Zers, honestly. I mean, I know they're allegedly soft, but they can't be that soft that like
No,
8 hours of work is like their undoing.
One of the things that is happening as people's lives have become more public as a result of social media is we're seeing more slobs. We're seeing more evidence of slobs. I maintain, I agree with you, Harry, in principle, that there have always been roughly the same proportion of slobs. There might be a few more slobs. The proportion of slobs might be a little bit higher in Gen Z than in previous generations, and good times tend to do that, and they'll bad times will thin the herd. Maybe it's time for the United States to get taken over by China. Maybe it's time to break up the United States. It's just too much wealth in one place. Just break off the whole West Coast and give it to China.
Yeah, they'll pay off their debts. Yeah,
as a peace offering, so that we can be allies for 1,000 years and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
I don't know. It's an idea.
Well, Sora's had to work with people who, broadly speaking, fall in this category, age category, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you know that it's challenging sometimes dealing with Gen Z, but I suspect most of them are probably pretty decent. I mean, I think the ones that are the lol cows definitely stand out more than the ones that do their jobs.
I'm so sorry. It blanked out for a bit and it cut you off.
Okay, sorry.
For me.
Well, I was saying you're dealing with Gen Z. You have to. Oh, I thought you had some people that came in and you had work issues with them sometimes.
Yeah, work issues, but they were definitely not Gen Z.
Oh, okay.
They were like young millennial, which makes it worse.
My grandkids are millennials, and they're in honors math and doing quite well.
Well, I did some stuff with some Gen Z people, helping them with a startup, and they were definitely motivated. Not all of the Gen Z people are like this. I think, okay, here I'm going to make a statement. I think what's happening is a lot of people have been convinced that if they try for these kinds of jobs, that's the ticket to happiness. And they arrive in these jobs, and I think more and more of them are being pushed into them. And I think that people get into these positions and find that just temperamentally they're not suited for them. And that's all we're really seeing. I don't know if it's so much because these people are in Gen Z or just because this is the batch of people that got propagandized and pushed into these jobs that don't really bring them joy.
Okay. Can you talk to Aiden and get her to do a paper on this functional?
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of this rearing its ugly head in Gen X as well, where it was expectation of, fill in the blank versus what you felt your calling was. That's why I got into the corporate world, because that was what I was expected to do, as opposed to what I wanted to do, culinary, and I found my calling eventually. But it's a weird, you kind of have to have a weird balance in that, I feel, because if you want to do right by your parents, but you also want to make your own way in the world. You don't want to exactly let them down and go all the way to one side and be like an OnlyFans air quotes model, or the other side and become a unemployed nothing. But I mean, it's kind of cliche to say it at this point, but you got to have that work-life balance.
Well, why?
If your job doesn't allow you to have that, and if the job is soul crunching, like,
we'll just give them money.
An advertisement. Advertisement is garbage.
We'll just give them money. So this is from Michigan Democrat Rashida Tlaib, another one of the brain trust in the squad.
Why am I not?
So she basically wants to give $1,400 a month to emancipated minors and those under the age of 30 that will offer them cash assistance for 3 years to help overcome homelessness and study housing with a particular focus on youth. And this is in no way trying to buy votes in this voting block.
No.
No.
Why?
It's co-sponsored by Cory Bush. Cory Bush of Missouri, Sylvia Garcia of Texas,
fine.
Eleanor Holmes Norton of the District of Columbia,
God.
and Barbara Lee
much
of California. That is a
Goodness, how much
stellar
money
group
coming
of intellects and geniuses that have put forth this idea.
Average IQ 90. Seriously, average IQ 90.
I'm going hard 85,
Yeah,
and I'm not joking.
I wasn't joking either.
You're
I
being
was,
too nice, honestly.
I was giving a gentleman's 5 points.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, this is stupid. Let's not worry about that anymore. That actually should have been at the beginning. I don't know why I put it at the end. Oh, because it's in the Gen Z block. Never mind. Let's see. Well, some of this is actually Gen A because things happen. So this, I think, is actually good. New Mexico teacher had students duel with swords in class, leading to serious injury of teen girl, lawsuit says. First of all, this seems like an awesome teacher. We're trying to get the students involved. I don't think anything is going to get them more involved than sword play.
Oh, are you kidding?
Or a very, I couldn't give a shit anymore. Let the kids kill themselves.
Yeah.
What was the injury?
Oh,
I want to know what.
She has permanent damage in her hand. It like sliced through, like some ligaments, and she really bled.
mhm.
They refused to call 911 for 20 minutes. It took before someone called her grandfather, who's her guardian, and it was another half an hour before EMS showed up to take her.
Yeah, at least it wasn't boring.
And it, so she has some permanent usage issues with her right hand, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's bad. She's
she's
16
not-
years old. She's 16 years old, now may have a permanent
Yeah,
disability.
Well, she's not dead yet, though, right?
No.
It's
So
still
we don't
awesome.
know if it's
though.
permanent. That's
I'm
what
sorry she's
saying.
hurt,
It
but
could
I
be
still love
temporary.
this.
It could be
I-
temporary. In 50 years, they might fix this. In which case,
We got to
it
weed
becomes
out the weak
temporary
ones.
and-
Yes, but Harry, you have to have a professional to teach people how to respect and use these types of tools, be it bladed weapons or firearms or anything else.
Mhm.
Not just some stupid teacher who goes, here, have a pair of metal swords. They're probably dull, but they're still big chunks of metal. And we're squishy bags of mostly water, so you do the math.
Well, if these girls
It's just
get
stupid that
if she gets
just
attacked
end
by a sunfish, she will be much better prepared to.
she won't, because
deal
she's
with
more
it.
of a liability
By
to
a
herself.
sunfish.
If they got in a sword master, then she'd be prepared. Then she could survive the bloody, zombie apocalypse. Never mind some stupid sunfish invasion.
Mhm.
Oh, this is maddening because it gives a bad rap to, I did fencing, I did firearms training and scouts when people weren't so.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Did you send me this one, Sora?
Yes.
Okay, Surrey School to pull Kill a Mockingbird and other books from recommended reading curriculum. So, of course, high schools and
Really?
middle schools have their curriculum. They have like recommended books, and To Kill a Mockingbird has been on like those lists like forever. But I think it's from reading through this article, and I read through the whole thing pretty carefully. It sounds like they wanted to make it a little less stale, male, and pale because they were looking at pulling To Kill a Mockingbird, The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, which is a white person talking about that tale. John Ball's In the Heat of the Night, which honestly, I don't know why if you're interested in race. Oh, that's right, because it's about race, but it's also written by a white person, so we can't have that. And Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck.
Really?
It's like, okay. This just...
Giant.
Yeah, and then they talk about a bunch of school districts pulling these things. I guess a certain amount of this is just inevitable because as times change and attitudes change, they're going to mix stuff up. Maybe bringing in
But
something more modern might not be the worst idea.
So they list a bunch of the books, a few recommended alternatives that
Yeah.
they're going to use. One of which is The Hate You Give, which is the one about how it's to do with gangs and how a high schooler's I believe he's black. He gets shot by a white police officer
Of
and
course.
killed, and how the main girl character, who I guess is supposed to be the reader reading it, right? That's your character as you navigate this, as you yourself are this black girl living in modern day US, I guess, and here's a white police officer shooting people, and how I guess the conversation in a classroom will be, was this justified? Is it targeted? What
Hmm.
about the gang life associated with whatever? I don't know. I didn't read it. I didn't see. I think they made a movie out of it. I didn't see. I'm not really interested. It's out of my age range, I guess.
Hmm.
Because it smells propaganda. It comes out exactly around this time. So,
Yeah, it's an
but
opportunity
instead of
to
so
indoctrinate.
for me, like we did tequila because that's what we call it. We called it in my high school. We did tequila in high school,
Yeah.
and is it a little bit slow? Yes. Did we pray that we would see the movie? Yes, because you're in high school. Of course, any book you're going to be studying it's going to kill the joy
I
of reading
read it
that
3
book.
times in high school.
Yeah, but like for me, is this you have this book? It is why is it important? Because it
I love
shows
that book.
from a time period
Yeah.
how a white person is trying to prevent the false accusations against a black person during a time of real racial segregation and hate. And it, it's important, right? That story is important. But I think you're right, Harry. It's written by a white person. The main character is a white family. You know, there is even a subplot. Isn't there a subplot in that book with the brother and drug and some old lady coming off? Is a drug addict or coming down
Right.
from being
Yes.
addicted to
Uh-huh. Yeah.
medicine or something, right?
Yeah.
And he having
Referred
to
to obliquely. Yes.
yeah, yeah. So that's actually that's the storyline I remember the most
Yep.
out
Oh,
of
that's
out of the
interesting.
book. So it's just like it's important, right? Like it
Yeah.
has some really serious conversations to be had. Just
Yeah.
taking it out completely. I have nothing against adding more modern discussions about racism and other stuff to the curriculum. I think that's very important. It keeps it more modern. Yes, it makes it more applicable to to now, but to remove it completely, not to even use it as a contrast study. Like, are you saying the kids are so stupid now going to high school? You can't have them read 2 books, one written about this is how they viewed racism in the South in this time period. Here is a modern one that just came out. Let's compare and contrast, write a paper on it. They can't even do that because that would have been even the best way of dealing with this.
You're talking about educating people.
But I'm also talking about Surrey, which is a
Yeah.
shithole. This is not UK, by the way, people. It's Canada. So
It's Canada,
I don't have much of a
Surrey
but it's
down
British
to
Columbia.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not a good sign because this schools district will, if they're going to do this, similar will come everywhere. So and it still sucks for the kids. The kids it's not their fault. They don't have great teachers or a great school, right? Like they enter a school that their parents can send them to, hoping that they get an education or whatever.
Well, let me float something float an idea for you, Sora. In my opinion, I think that they're making a mistake by even having things be quite so standardized. I think they should have like a list of 100 books, and they should let the kids basically pick the ones they want to do and then have to sort of present and then defend their thesis, because that gets the oral component that forces them to do the work. Because if you have to orally defend it, it gets Chat GPT and all this other stuff out of the mix to a large extent, and you can't fake cliff notes. So
We had in my high school we had a reading list that you had to get through in the summer. So at the end of the school year, you were given a list of books. There are usually 3 categories, and you had to read at least one per category. So they usually were like 20 books in across whatever category, and it was to do with in preparation of English for the next year. And then the idea being that of those books, and you could choose whatever, you were going to do a presentation at some point throughout the year. I did microsurfs in grade 11. I remember that was the one year we actually got to do like a big project. So I did microsurfs, which was kind of weird.
yeah,
I chose it because of the way the book was designed, and it was kind of interesting. But so, for example, they have that on top of the curriculum books. So that was in addition to having to do To Kill a Mockingbird. What did we do? Whatever Shakespeare play we did per year, and
Really
etc.
made an impression on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
hated being told what to read, even if it was like you get to
Oh, I
choose.
hear you. I hear you.
I'm like, no.
I think-
I will read
exactly.
it
It
'cause
makes
I have
you
to, but I hate.
makes
I'm
you
not-
not want to read it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think for
100%.
general classes, it's better to have more breadth and less depth. And I think that for specific classes, like if you're taking a class on Shakespeare, that's a very different sort of thing. And you really need to drag everybody along kind of in step with it because of the type of the material. But I think that just getting people to read a lot more stuff and be exposed to more things rather than focusing so much on just these key books for the year might be a better alternative. And then you just, people who want to read To Kill a Mockingbird can read that, and then people who want to read the alternate stuff can, and then they can talk about it in their oral presentations. But anyway, that's me. I mean, I feel that school should be hard. And we're going to have to make some kinds of changes just because of all the AI bullshit that's making it harder to teach these classes. That's part of why I'm pushing for more material and more oral stuff that you have
I'd
to
say
defend.
challenging over hard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But,
I had
I'm
a
an
similar
asshole when it comes to this sort of stuff. I've been told so to be like when I was a reader for certain classes that I was told, you need to ease up on your grading. It's like, sorry. Go
I
ahead,
had a
Functional.
similar experience to what Sora was saying about having, this is your reading list. You have to pick three selections, one from each of the three categories, whatever. But my teachers were really good. Maybe it was just mine, or maybe it was just sort of like that laissez-faire attitude of the 80s, where I didn't want to do any of the. I fucking hated Shakespeare when I was a kid. My appreciation of him did not come until I was well into my late 20s. But I wanted to replace the Shakespeare reading column with Tolkien, and they allowed me. And so basically, I traded off the one book for 3 books because I read all 3 books.
It's a good teacher that let you do that, honestly.
Yeah. But I mean, I still had to do the work. You know what I mean? I still had to report back and say, like, okay, so, talk about some of the themes in it. And I actually, it was funny because I talked about the racism element between the elves, dwarves, and humans, but how the portrayal of these 3 individuals, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, was more like a bro thing, like a male thing. Like, we'll sit there and make fun of each other. It's like the meme, like, oh, your mom's a hoe. Oh, your mom's so fat, blah, 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 blah. And then the guy's walking away. I love that guy. And the girls, it's like, oh, I love your hair. Oh, I love your dress. Man, I hate that bitch. Kind of thing. But yeah, it was really cool that they would allow you to do that because the books were also in rotation. So, like, To Kill a Mockingbird was not on my reading list, but there was what else was there? There was like things like Tom Sawyer and other books that still kind of had those same themes. So I think maybe just to give a little bit of benefit of the doubt to this specific case, maybe their stock of To Kill a Mockingbird needed to be replaced because the books, they get wear and tear, and they're like, okay, so are we going to buy another 600 copies of To Kill a Mockingbird, or are we going to switch it up with this book or that book or whatever? I'm more concerned personally of what's on the reading list than so much of what's not on the reading list, if you know what I mean, because there's a lot of good books out there that can really be advantageous for young people to read. But when you get things like the stuff that we've been seeing that has actually been banned from school libraries and school reading lists, which is good in our opinions. I'm not going to name them, but we all know the ones.
I know it when I see it.
I'm more concerned about those being on the list than the thousands and thousands of books out there that kids could read.
Okay.
That are good.
Well, we need to move along. No, I mean, actually,
Moving right along.
I mean, I was going to suggest that we just start comparing similar themes between Tolkien, Star Trek, and Shakespeare, and that we spend several hours doing that. But moving on.
Cool.
Yeah, that would be fun, actually. Okay. Let's see.
Sora needs back in.
Oh, she does. Did she get the boot? How's Serenity doing? Is she off dealing with dogs?
She was.
She was.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Hi. Okay.
Hi, welcome back.
Let's see. So let's see. We were running a little low on time, so we have to pick and choose. Maybe we should just. We'll go a little over if you're up for it, Skep. I mean, I won't
That
keep you
sounds
awake
good.
for a long time.
No, I'm feeling good.
But I have a few things that I do want to talk about. Like, we don't need to discuss this in any great length. Vegan men fart 7 times more than non-vegans, study finds.
Ew.
All those
Okay.
seed oils.
Well, yeah, this is all about what you have in your gut.
Something's wrong with
and,
their digestion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just you have certain types of foodstuffs, organic.
Yeah.
Vegetables in particular, things like cauliflower and cabbage produce more gas as you digest them usually, and unfortunately, those plants, along with onions, leach sulfur. When you leach sulfur into a plant and you digest it, guess what happens? Sulfur likes to go places. Sulfur's a rambling chemical, and he likes to go places, have fun reactions.
He's
usually
very
give off a lot
gregarious.
of heat,
Yeah.
and likes to combine with oxygen a whole lot and make these sulfites and sulfates, but his very favorite is just a straight HS combination, and the delicious smells that go along with that, hydrogen sulfide.
Yeah, well, I have or rotten egg gas if we're for it's just like
Yes,
calling a
could be.
polygraph a lie detector. It's like
Yes,
I can be
exactly right.
I can be street too. So how many of you, sort of show of hands type thing, have ever been to like an entertainment thing that was labeled as an experience?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've had the experience. Okay, functional. What about you, Sora?
The
Ever-
experience?
Yeah, have you ever fallen for this marketing ploy where they say the XYZ experience and you're a fan of something and then you go because you want to have the experience about something you're a fan of? Have you ever been to an experience?
Oh, I wanted to. They had a Doctor Who experience in Cardiff,
Okay, so you know what
and
I'm
I
talking
really wanted
about.
to go to one. But
Okay.
yeah. But I never.
Oh, I know where this is
unfortunately-
going.
Okay, and Skep, have you
Oh.
ever been to the experience?
The
The
Willy
ex-
Wonka.
no, I've never been to the
experience that we're talking
experience.
about.
Okay, I
don't
have,
think I've been-
and I've raged about it before. I went to the Star Trek experience, Marriott's Great America, and it was several hours of standing in line in the hot sun, only to show up in a tent with a couple people dressed up as Klingons and some props, and then they sent you straight to the egress. I've never been so pissed off in my life, and I think this is right up there with it. It's the Willy Wonka
Yes.
experience.
I love this so much.
Well, why don't you tell us about it? You know about it, Sora. Tell.
So this is in Glasgow, I believe.
Yep.
And all this is AI art, pardon me, hook people in. It was like 35 pounds a ticket
Mm-hmm.
to come in, and they're all these like I don't know what the heck they were expecting, but it was basically this horrific like community center with some really sketchy areas, very sad looking actors.
Here's your experience.
Here's your $35.
If you want to view
And they had my
paradise.
favorite part. My favorite part is in like the food table. They had lemon squash for kids, and it was like a quarter of a cup of this.
Well,
Like,
these people were so
just
pissed
like-
they called the police. And they ended up refunding everybody's money. It's like, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Transaction.
They've been interviewing some of the actors who we kind of showed up on the day and we saw this and we're
Oh,
like,
this
yeah, we're
is
not getting
fun.
paid.
Yeah, there's
so-
your cup. So there's the marketing,
Yeah.
which is this AI whatever here, and then there's the reality, which is this folding table.
I saw this story go by and I thought
Yeah.
to myself, this thing was a bad experience. There's nothing remarkable about that. Another disappointing experience. There's one of the sad actors.
Yeah.
The one dressed, the lady dressed as Oompa Loompa at the meth table is the best though. I don't know if they have the
Table.
picture for that.
Yeah, no, I went through several different articles. Some of the headlines for these articles were really fantastic. I like comparing the headlines. But yeah, this was I think you're never too young to learn that people who market this kind of stuff are almost always lying to you to take your money.
Yes.
And because anything
Right.
labeled as the experience is almost always going to be a letdown. Serenity's back, I think.
Yes. Welcome back.
Yes. You didn't have to go shoot any more coyotes, did you?
No, I think they've all talked to each other and are like, no, we're going to leave it alone.
Excellent. You
But
deployed some Acme products to keep them away, I hope. Those are the most effective ones at getting rid of coyotes.
Or a Roadrunner.
Acme. No, Acme products never hurt the Roadrunner. They always end up messing up the coyote.
I know, but I deploy the Roadrunner to take care of the.
Oh, yeah. You need a flock of Roadrunners.
I've seen a lot of commentary channels talk about the Willy Wonka thing. It was funny.
So,
But I grew up on Tumblr, so I know the rule of
I grew
you have
up
to
on
let
Tumblr.
Well, the thing is, like TumblrCon. TumblrCon is iconic because it failed so excruciatingly. I have learned to never do this the first year. Or the first time. If there's multiple weekends, you don't go the first weekend. No.
Tumblr is weirdly great.
I love Tumblr. I love it.
I don't hate Tumblr.
I love it.
Just
Like,
it's a tool. You just got to understand how to use it.
And it has-
Reddit can be the same way.
yeah, I only go on certain things on Reddit. I don't go on anything else.
Yeah.
well, this article here said they build this as it was billed as the place where chocolate dreams become reality. Okay.
So, someone's dreams.
What
come
is
around
Harry going to
for good
segue
money.
to? Where could we possibly be going?
Drugs.
Where could we be going for our last article of the night?
Drugs.
Where is it?
Drugs.
Where is it? It is
Depends on how it takes how long.
Tab.
Here.
Where's the tab?
Rachel Dolezal fired from Arizona teaching job over OnlyFans account.
Good.
She probably was.
This is the woman that pretended to be black so she could run like an NAACP chapter.
Oh, from
Do you remember
Yeah,
the fake black woman?
in NAACP had turned out to be white. This is her, Rachel Dolezal.
Yep.
She lived about 4 miles from where I lived in Spokane, and although we lived there at different times, and she is an absolute dirtbag, and she has an only. She's not a good-looking person.
No.
She has an OnlyFans.
Teacher was the
Most
former
people
on
president
OnlyFans are
of
not
the
good-looking
Spokane
people.
NAACP,
Oh,
Nikichi
my.
Diallo, also known as Rachel Dolezal. She served as an instructor at the school. In 2015, Diallo made national headlines when it was revealed she lied for years and misrepresented herself as a black woman. An Arizona school.
So this is also how not to make a short. I love the fact that most of this
Yeah.
guy's body has been clipped off. This is not how you do this. Talk to
Listen,
Kefki.
It was an intern's first day. Give him a break.
Yeah.
Apparently.
So, I think that the idea of Rachel Dolezal having an OnlyFans, I think we've talked about OnlyFans that only a very small number of them actually make a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
The rest
Like-
just set themselves up for not making money and having a difficult
average-
conversation with their
The
kids.
average is
And
like
15 years.
$168 a month or something like that. It's
Yeah.
168.
Yes, of the ones that even can actively monetize, a lot of them make nothing.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing goes for a lot. Like Twitch is that way. Like
Yeah.
the top 10% of Twitchers, the small all you need to be in the top 10% is to have 10 consecutive viewers on Twitch. That's all you need. Because most of the people who are on Twitch don't ever do anything. And OnlyFans is the exact same way. And it's made even worse when you realize that, like, I think Black China for the longest time was the largest producer on OnlyFans. Like, she made the most money. And when it was in the millions, it's like, oh yeah, that's going to skew it even harder. That means if you remove the top 6 people, if you remove the money they make, the average monthly for OnlyFans is like $50.
Yeah.
There's Pareto distribution, and then there's super Pareto distribution.
Yeah, really.
So you guys want one more palate cleanser?
Go for it.
Yep.
Okay. Turkey that terrorized Quebec town taken down by slingshot-wielding resident.
Good.
All right.
Those little fuckers deserve to die.
A wild turkey that was roaming the streets of Louisville, Quebec. I'm sure it's not Louisville. Louisville, Quebec. And
Leo.
chasing its residents was slain Thursday morning by a resident
Good.
armed with a slingshot, according to Mayor Yvonne Deschales.
Oh,
Because
that's
that's
sad.
Deschales,
No,
excuse
it's
me.
not.
the shades.
who had issued a call to arms on Wednesday, says he knew the man was a good shot and talked to him about taking down the turkey. Several residents of Louisville, a town of about 5,000, had filmed the turkey in question terrorizing people on the streets in videos that have since gone viral on Facebook. I wonder if these will actually play.
Should. Oh, turkeys are assholes. Turkeys deserve to die.
Yeah, they do.
Turkey.
They really have they've got dinosaur.
The
attitude.
Zapruder film had better video than this. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Okay.
substantially better.
But yeah, and essentially they killed it and then they ate it because
Good.
that's what you do with a turkey that's a
Did
dick.
they really butcher it and eat it?
Yep.
Wow.
You gotta.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the
there's
code of the land, Skep. If you kill something up here, you eat it.
Yep.
What's like there's a YouTube account I follow called Whiteacre Farms, and he has tame turkeys, and he learned the hard way that all of us learned when we have turkeys is that you cannot leave the turkeys alone with other birds because they will attack the other birds.
Right.
Like, and his one of his turkeys, who's now dead because he killed it and ate it.
Oh, that's the one with
Mumbles.
Mumbles. Yeah,
Like
Mumbles.
I like the
Gobbles.
mumble. The turkey messed up the goose, the female goose. Like he almost took out both her eyes. Her entire head was bloody. Like, turkeys are jerks.
Yeah, it's amazing the amount
I
of
mean,
time
some-
that he took rehabilitating this goose. Like, it was
Yeah.
very touch and go. I love Mumbles.
Mumbles are so cute, but yeah, no, there's a reason why we don't own turkeys. I would shoot every one of them. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of wild turkeys around here that I shoot every year for Thanksgiving, so that's all that matters.
Well, then, assassin, if you kill a man, you gotta eat it.
Yep.
But no, seriously, like, that was kind of like it. What there's no laws that say that, but it was instilled into me because I've had the wilderness training. I've lived in rural, like, northern Ontario and stuff. Like, that was just kind of the thing. If something came up on your property that was a threat to you, your home, your livestock, whatever, and you killed it, you ate it.
Yep.
So
Didn't
have
matter.
you ever had
I had
occasion
a
to eat
porcupine that
humans?
was. I had a porcupine that was
Yep,
terrorizing my workshop, and I smashed its, caved its head in with a sledgehammer, and
Yep.
made porcupine stew. It's just,
Yep.
I'm not going to throw that away. I'm not going to feed it to the horses.
You butchered the porcupine?
Yep. There's good
gutted
meat
it,
on porcupines.
skinned it, and then there's a little bit of meat there, but it was enough
Yeah.
for a stew. Kept me fed for 3-4 days. You don't put anything to waste if you're in the middle of fucking middle Ontario, where the closest grocery
believe me,
store is
my,
like 2 hours
my
away.
family comes from rural Alabama. Half my
Yeah.
rural Alabama. We
I'm
know
sure-
about I've had possum stew.
Yeah. I've
Like,
had squirrel
to-
stew.
To
Like,
explain something to
I've had
assassin.
squirrel too.
Yes, geese are evil, but geese are evil in the way Japan's evil. They're useful evil.
Yeah. A friend of mine.
Turkeys are China evil.
A friend
They're
of mine
not
has a kid, and the kid when he was fairly young, was still trying. He was very, very smart kid, very precocious, good kid, but he was young and he was still figuring out how to talk good. And he encountered a goose for the first time in his life, and he called it a cobra chicken because he didn't have the right words. He just called it a cobra chicken.
That's fitting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, geese.
I still,
If
I
you're
prefer
choosing
geese.
squirrels to have in your stew, by the way, choose a gray squirrel. Don't shoot the red squirrels. They taste terrible. They are so gamey. Don't
stringy and
just say no
Well,
to the smaller, skinny red squirrels. Get the big plump gray squirrels. They're much better.
I had a conversation with my friend from Alabama, really nice guy, and actually knows a ton about history. It would be fantastic to get my friend James and Prospero in the same room. Those two would hit it off like unbelievably. And
I'd just like to listen to them talk.
But he's my expert when it comes to all things Southern. My good friend James, and I talked to him and I was kind of joking. I said, "Do you guys ever eat possum?" I said, because I know squirrel is good eating. And he said, we squirrel people don't cater to no possum people, I believe was his exact response. He made it quite clear that he was a squirrel person. Squirrel dumplings was totally fine, but he wasn't going to eat.
Southern Alabama.
He was not going to eat any greasy ass possum. That was where he draws the
what part
line.
of Alabama he's from?
I could ask him. I don't remember off the top of my
I would
head.
just be curious.
He lives in Georgia now.
Yeah, well, that's a shame. But
If
yeah.
if he's a squirrel guy, Skep, he's probably northern Alabama.
Probably.
A lot more
Yeah.
because possum's eaten mostly by
Well,
the southern ones. Around
the
here, we
squirrels-
don't give
the
no
s-
shits.
The squirrels are in the timber country, and now the timber country is all the trash pine that they have for the paper farms and the pole forests down, and those are farther south and west toward Mobile.
Yeah.
Now, but that's only been in the last 25 years
But-
that change has happened, where the timber industries started to move farther south.
The nice thing about living in West Virginia is that if you have on private property, all you gotta do is declare the stuff you kill. You don't eat it. And every year for Thanksgiving, turkeys come through here all the time. I killed me a turkey for the family, and then I killed other turkeys for other ones, and then I give the rest, whatever remains, to the local food bank. There's the word, soup kitchen, not food bank.
Yeah.
And if I don't kill any, one of my neighbors will usually kill one of the turkeys, and they send us a turkey. So we have a trade system going through.
Shall we end on something pretty?
Yes.
Okay.
A beautiful sighting in
Yosemite's
Yosemite.
firefall phenomenon returns. Have you seen this?
This last
I love
week,
Firefall.
Horsetail Falls Firefall was back. The phenomenon
beautiful.
usually happens between mid to late February. It occurs when the setting sun hits Horsetail Fall at just the right angle to create the illusion of a lava-like stream going down the side of the cliff there. Park officials say the stunning sight draws large crowds. This video
That's
is
pretty
from
damn
one of our
cool.
employees here at
That is
ABC7,
awesome.
Sean
Pack your trash out,
Playback
you
sent us
assholes.
this
Yeah,
just a
really.
couple of hours
Man,
ago.
that is
Wow,
just
we were
brilliant.
Look at that.
Everything you bring in, you take out.
Did
Not
they
a-
say why it stopped? Was it the drought that had caused it to stop, or? were
I
they
don't
just saying
know.
it returned
No,
for another year?
it's only happens every once and again.
Okay.
Because the angle,
Everything's got to be just right.
yeah, the angle of the planet and the rotation to the sun and all this. It's just one of those things, like Skep was saying. It just everything happens
Yeah.
exactly right at this moment, and then it's gone for another few years. But it comes back every so often. I remember seeing that for the first time back.
Yeah. Well, we're only going to be gone for a week. This has been your Minions of the Zoo for Saturday.
Love the segue. Love it.
Remember, gray squirrels, no red squirrels.
And don't-
eat red squirrels.
And don't eat rabbits if you're desperate, because rabbits don't get processed by humans.